Veterans, I ain't playing weak, no I'm playing for keeps, can't stop me, I'm a legend. I run with the crew that's making the moves, get out of the way, we coming through, we got this, never stopping, and we won't lose, no we can't lose, yeah! Are you ready? Yeah! We are the legends, we are the legends, yeah! Are you ready? We are the legends, we are the legends.
They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be watching from, and welcome to a special Round 6, Season 19 edition of the Racecraft Simulations V8 Veterans Split 2 broadcast here from the Red Bull Ring out in Spielberg, Austria. I'm your commentator here tonight, Hamish Mono, joined alongside by Scott Gamble. Scotty, obviously a very somber day, Thursday for ANZAC Day, but a fantastic opportunity for us to go racing and an absolute pleasure to have to call the action with you once again.
Yeah, how you going, Hamish? Pleasure to be here at Red Bull Ring. Looking forward to tonight's action. It was a very somber day on a Thursday. Started very early for myself and members of my family, but we got to finish it off with a V8 Vets race later that evening, which was great here at Red Bull. So really looking forward to it. Looking forward to what the drivers and teams have got up to this week with their ANZAC liveries, Hamish, and I'm sure there's going to be a few out there too that will impress.
So many stories that we'll be able to go through here tonight along our journey around the Red Bull Ring, of course. Let's check out the track map now, Scotty, and just have a peek at what a beautiful circuit this is in the Spielberg Mountains. One of my favourite circuits in all of Europe. I know I say that almost every week whenever we come to a track here, but Red Bull Ring is definitely up there. It's one of my top 3 favourites alongside the likes of Portimao and others as well, which I've had the pleasure of calling races around this week too. But as we trickle our way down, we will be able to see this absolutely gorgeous circuit here. I believe it is, I think it's 11 corners, I want to say. Make the guess before we get in there with the track map. 10 corners, I was close. 4.3 Ks. We've used this layout ever since 2016 when it made a return to the Formula One calendar. And prior to that, it was also known as the A1 Ring as well, where it actually looped through the sort of mountain ranges. You just keep on going at turn 1 and eventually you find your way up at where turn 3 is at the top of the hill. But here in Spielberg, Styria, Austria, 10 turns, 4.3 Ks, and it is a quick lap, Scotty.
Yeah, it is. It most certainly is. And it all starts at turn 1, Hamish. You've got to get in there, get on that throttle. It's a third gear corner. To get off that turn is extremely important as it heads you down into the longest straight on this track. Plenty of slipstreaming, and it puts you very, very tight and side by side, where we may see some incidents, may see some overtakes down at turn 3.
We've already seen plenty of incidents happen all throughout turn 1 and up into turn 3 as well, of course. Lap starts, as you mentioned, Nicky ladder curve up through the Munza turn at turn 2. It's not even really a turn, is it? It's more or less just a break in the road, and then up at turn 3, the hairpin. We've already seen throughout, not only this round, but previously coming to this circuit, so many incidents that have happened down at turn 3. And then we continue the fast-flowing run down towards the Ruck turn at turn 4, then around through the really nice winding, undulating sections of turn 5, 6, and 7 out at Graz. But that run from 8 through 10 is a wild one, isn't it, Scotty?
Yeah, probably that section, 6 and 7, turn 6 and 7, my favourite part of this track. Really got to balance that car. But there is that run down to Jock and Ryan turn 9 and 10, off-track central. That is where you will pick up majority of your off-tracks, including turn 1. It's something drivers are going to have to be aware of. They've got 17 off-tracks, Hamish. Will they exceed it? Will they get a drive-through penalty? And will they have to manage it throughout this race?
Well, if they get a curb strike down between turn 9 and turn 10, they can serve it all the way up into turn 3. Scotty, I know this because I did it in practice this week around this track. But yeah, that's one of the things the drivers are going to have to be careful of, is getting those slowdowns, getting those curb strikes. Remembering as well, we cannot serve those slowdowns on the racing line. So if you get one, you must get offline and serve it, but you can do it all the way up into turn 3 and in through the braking zones if needed as well. But Red Bull Ring offers up so many different challenges. It's a simple circuit, or simple looking circuit, Scotty, but it is actually quite technical in the way you have to race it and the way you have to try and wrestle this car around to get the most out of it and get the most out of your lap times in qualifying and in the race as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It opens itself up to some really fantastic racing in the V8 supercar here. But you're right, it does come down to how much brake, how game you are to run the full width of this track and not get that off track. It's extremely important to balance it. You've got long straights, hard braking zones. Turn 1, we mentioned. Turn 3 is another hard braking zone. Some guys may go down to first gear in that turn. And then you've got that back section, turn 6, 7. They're flowing, they're technical. You've really got to rotate the car on the front end and not get that oversteer. So it's going to be, it is a lot of a track to take in, Hamish, and one that I personally struggled with a little bit at the start of the practice for this round. But as the round goes on, you become more familiar, with the set, and it opens itself up, becomes a little bit easier.
With it being obviously such a short and simple track in its layout. Obviously only 10 turns. There's nothing really ultra technical about the way that the track has been put together. It makes it so hard to find that little bit of pace that you're trying to gain over your competitors, whether you're trying to gain a 10th or 2/10. It can be incredibly difficult to find the pace out of the car and figure out where, in fact, you can gain pace throughout this circuit and around a lap. But it's also being able to do it consistently. As I mentioned, it's a wrestle around this place. It's in its simplicity, it is technical, and there's something beautiful about it, about how it can produce fantastic racing, some absolute chaos as well. But at the end of the day, it is just a hidden gem in the world of racing and in the world of racing circuits as well.
I know from my own experience here that I was a good half a second off the pace when I started at Red Bull the start of this week, and I had to go in, and my teammates got in behind me, helped me out. They showed me a couple of things that I was actually doing a little bit wrong to extract a little bit more pace, and just a couple of little pointers. And I'm sure teams and have been in there helping each other. That those couple of little pointers do help you out, and I was able to gain that half a second over the next couple of practice sessions. So yeah, it is difficult, Hamish. It is a little bit more technical than you do think, because sometimes you've got to trail the brake in. Sometimes you can just brake really hard, and also, like what you talked about last week, getting the run off the turns, super important. Turn one, you have to get the run off that turn. Otherwise, you're going to be in defense mode. You're going to get slipstream. You're going to be overtaken.
So already had a heap of chats in the comments already. Will Munro, Halil Caesar, Sean Cullen, Stephen Kennedy, Darren Crosby, Dave Arney as well, Steve Grumley out there, Stacey Boyd, Simon Hayes in the chat, to Andrew Rushworth as well. Great to have you all here with us. Great to have you all in the chat and letting us know what you think of the action here tonight, giving your thoughts and feelings throughout the proceedings of tonight's race, of course. But qualifying's over. Scotty, we're now going to get into our warm-up session. I know you've mentioned previously you don't really like to do very much during your warm-up. You like to just reset the mind, get ready for the race, but we know that some drivers like to get out there and do their practice starts. And I think, this is a circuit. We know that chaos can happen at turn one. We already saw it in split 3 last night with a car getting spun round. Well, 2 cars getting spun round in the span of the start of turn 1 and the exit of turn 1. It could very easily happen again here tonight, but it's going to be up to the drivers whether they want to try and reset the minds, get nice and clear and ready to go, or they want to go hell for leather, on lap 1 and make the mistake of trying to win it on lap 1 as well.
Yeah, there is that, Hamish, and there is that mental approach to it. You go in just trying to survive, maintain position, and consolidate where you are for a lap or two before you start to push on, or you get one of those really good jumps and you just try to capitalise on it. And sometimes when that happens, that can lend to downfall and chaos erupts. We will see. We'll see what happens here with these drivers in split 2 and how they approach turn 1.
Well, we know it is a highly contested split, arguably the most highly contested split based on track pace between drivers. P1 of split 2 and P1 of split 3 were separated by 0.2 of a second in their lap times. There was, obviously a spread between the field in split 2, but that's how close the times are getting from the top end of split 3 to the top end of split 2, and that's how highly contested it is in this split as well. Ashton Reese will chat with us while watching with anticipation. Well, Sean, I hope you are ready to enjoy some absolutely fantastic racing around one of the world's hidden gems of race circuits here in the Red Bull Ring as well. Darren Cox saying, hope it doesn't happen to me this turn. Now, the turn 1 hoodoo. We know Darren got hit early last week with a bit of an incident that just caused a bit of chaos for himself and his car. He had a bit of a tumble down the hanger straight up towards Brooklands out at Silverstone. But this circuit here tonight, it offers its challenges, as we mentioned, but it's going to be great to not only go through the stories of some of the liveries that are represented here tonight for ANZAC Day, but also just watch some fantastic racing around a fantastic track like Red Bull Ring, Scotty.
Yeah, strategy is going to be an important thing here, Hamish. You can pit from lap 2 onwards as your first earliest pit stop, and generally most drivers will be looking around about lap 14, 15. You can make it home from there as the tank opens up to 111 litres. So pit stop strategy will come into it. Fuel saving will come into it. The draft is significant. You can range between 2 to 4 tenths of a lap, and also you can save quite a bit of fuel being in that draft. So it'll be interesting to see how the drivers adapt, change as the tyres wear off, and as their strategy evolves as this race goes on.
It's it's also just want to mention it's big ups to everyone out there who put the commitment in to run an ANZAC course. Scotty, I know that boys did it 9.5 and many other teams have and drivers have throughout the league. So I'm really excited. You know, I'm a livery buff, and I'm going to be excited to check out how all these cars look on track. It might make it a little bit confusing when we're trying to call the action, because you may expect someone to look like one car, but they in fact look like another on track. But I'm looking forward to it tonight. I think it's going to be a lot of fun out here at this track. I mean, it's supercars around here. They can produce some great racing around this track, and you know, I'm going to say it, this track suits the supercar so well. Looking at it on paper, it may not, but I think from a driver's and a viewer's perspective, it's great racing around here every single time you come.
It's a good track to drive on, and you're right about the liveries. The guys and girls in the V8 Vets League, they put in a lot of pride, a lot of energy into their liveries, and especially with this ANZAC round, we've got quite a few veterans within the V8 Vets community, and or they've had parents, brothers, sisters who have served as well. So it's quite significant for our members to be able to honour them in that way, and for us to be able to bring the broadcast to them, showing their liveries off, to show that remembrance and that honour and that pride that many of the vets community feels. And being a veteran myself, I really appreciate the effort that they do go to, just not for myself, but for everyone. And yeah, it's one of those days where you're proud to be an Australian, you're proud of those that have served in our forces, and you know, you're proud to remember them. And, even as somber as it may be, but it's one of those days, Hamish, that really brings the community together.
Yeah, it's a day that, you know, probably be a lot of uproar if you try to change it somehow, if you try to change anything about it somehow as well. So it's one of those untouchables that I think everyone can just admit that needs to stay as it is, and it's a day of togetherness. It doesn't matter where you come from, who you are. ANZAC Day is about everybody and everybody coming together and everybody being who they are and supporting each other in the you know, based around the support, the service and the sacrifices of those men and women who have represented not only Australia but also New Zealand as well. But regardless, we will get ready to go racing here tonight around Red Bull Ring with our starting grid up on screen now. It'll be Stephen Kennedy starting out of P1 ahead of Matty Parker from Nova Sim Sports out of P2. The two championship contenders so far this season. They'll start on the front row of the grid ahead of Glenn Corbett of Hypersonic Racing and Steve Grumley out of P4 for SLS Racing in behind. Ed Fox, Andrew Hoffman will then make up the third row of the grid ahead of our American man, Stacey Boyd out of P7, with Peter Latham lining up alongside him. Stephen Grech, P3 in the championship. He'll start out of P9 ahead of Jamie Peters from Simrigs Infinity Motorsport out of P10. Gary Buckland, this is his 100th race start here tonight. Scotty, he'll start out of P11 ahead of Matty Stores at a P12 for East West Racing, G&K Logistics. We'll then move down to Mick Clifton and Wayne Shepherd on the 7th row of the grid, with Brendan Zatira and Daniel Norris making up the 8th. Jim Capronis, Mario Reale will then make up P17 and P18, with Shane Randall of Simrigs Infinity Motorsport ahead of Coast to Coast Racing's Peter Baxter making up the top 20. Robert Crow, Mark Houghton will then line up alongside in P21 and P22, with Steve Lanyon and Marty Hansen lining up in P23 and P24 in behind. Todd Martin and Halil Caesar will then make up the top 26 cars on the road. Matty Monday, Fisher Motorsports, he'll line up in P27 alongside our other Centurion, Will Munro, in his 100th race start at a P28. Dave Arney, Darren Crosby will then start P29 and P30, with Michael Power, Richard Barella, John Gallen, Reece DeGoey making up the top 34 cars on track. Russell Gander, Brett Taylor will then line up in behind ahead of Scotty Weston, Troy Sipple, Mark Peck, Sean Cullen, Todd Duggan, who has a rear of grid penalty for last week's actions. He'll start ahead of Craig Healy, with Greg Favell, Antti Visma and Lucas Burt in our race control room here tonight, Scotty. But let's get ready to go racing. It's going to be a big night of racing here around Red Bull Ring, as we mentioned. Only 40 odd seconds before the lights go up and we get ready to go here tonight. A little bit of blinking action here from our leader Stephen Kennedy at the moment, so hopefully he can have a nice strong connection off the start line. But this is going to give us a nicer view of how the cars are going to be off the start and up towards turn 1 and 3.
Yeah, it's interesting. Stephen Kennedy has been in form. He's on pole position. Matty Parker, he's been right in thereabouts too, Hamish. So, yeah, those two facing off, P1, P2, be looking at that come turn 1.
This is the car on pole position, the Anzac Day livery of Stephen Kennedy in the 55 Mustang for M1 Racing. But let's get ready to go. Let's get the lights up. Let's go racing for round number 6 of season 19. Lap 1 of 47 about to begin here out at the Red Bull Ring. Who's going to get the jump as we go ahead racing now? Is a good start there from Parker off the start line as we come up towards turn 1 for the very first time here. As we make our way through, we can already see a little bit of binging and barging here up through the corner. Car's been spun round. That's Ed Fox with Andrew Hoffman in the background. Needs to be careful of the rejoin, of course, but that is already some big chaos happening early as the cars end up in the wall.
There's some big action going on there. There's 4 or 5 cars out already, and it's continuing, Hamish. We've got another 1, 2 around. These guys need to navigate this, slow it down, get through. There's a couple there now taking care. Wow, Hamish, what an extraordinary start. A lot of guys out there with damage who are going to have to manage this.
Sean Cullen pulling the car up on the side of the road. This may be an early tow here for himself and Team Go Slow Racing. He's pulled the car up. He may be requesting that tow, but it is Matty Parker in P1. He has pipped Kennedy for the lead of this race. He leads to Kennedy, to Corbett, to Grumley, to Boyd. That's the 5. Peters, Grech, Buckland, Zatira, Caperonis. That's the top 10 as we stand with Randall, Clifton, Riali, Lanyon, Cesar making up the 15. But I believe we will be getting a safety car at this point. Cullen is still parked up. We can see the cars in the background at the moment as there's been contact back there. That's Steve Lanyon, who's now dropping down possibly a couple of spots. He's still going though, but he's now dropped down outside the top 15.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot for race control to look at here. I'd imagine the comms would be alive. But what a start by Matty Parker. He got it off that line. Absolutely beautiful, Hamish. Got it up the inside there of Kennedy. Kennedy was wise of mind to say, hey, I'll back out of it. You've got the run. Well done, Matt. You can have it. I'll slot in behind you, which isn't a bad spot to be, Hamish. Like, he's being in P2 here. Let the leader do the work.
The safety car is out on track, so they will be slowed up now. What this means is, it means that we are actually going to, it's now going to push back the CPS, the start of the CPS period, being that the safety car was called lap 1. It's now out on track lap 2. So now it means that the drivers can only do their first CPS as of the first green lap after the safety car comes in. So if it was to come in on lap 3, they'd be able to come in for their stop at the end of lap 4 off the back of that.
Yeah, that's something to keep in mind. And yeah, I mean, if you're towards the back end of the field, you had a starting fuel of 50 litres. Why wouldn't you come in now? You'd come in, fill it up. It's a free fill, free time. Get that done. Yes, it won't count as your compulsory pit stop, but for strategy later on in the race, you're going to make ground.
Yeah, it's possibly one thing that not every driver would have thought of, but a third of the field has come in on lap 1, including Peter Latham, Matt Stoyles, Dave Arney, Marty Hanson, Scott Weston, Matty Monday, Brett Taylor, John Gallen, Darren Crosby, Peter Baxter, Robert Crow. Obviously, Sean Cullen needs to tow back to pits here. He will probably go a lap down, so he'll need another safety car to get back into the running if he does come back out on track. But that's an early one for us here in this race. But Parker leads, obviously, so a little bit of a reset now. How does an early safety car like this, Scotty, how does that kind of affect the mind? Obviously, you've gone through the process of getting ready for a race start. You've had your race start. Then all of a sudden, you're getting slowed up and all the adrenaline running of the race start kind of goes to nothing, and you've got to reset again and get ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to reset. Take a few deep breaths. Save as much fuel as you can. You'd be clutching it here, maybe have it in 4th or 5th gear and just clutch it in between and roll where you have to, you know. And I guess for the guys that didn't pit who are towards the front, they're going to have to make hay. When this safety car goes out, that's your time to shine. You've got your 10, 11 laps, but you're going to have to go bullet to gate, get that ground back, which they should be able to, and let others squabble around them in the background. So yeah, it is that you do reset, Hamish. You get to take a breather, have a little think about it. Hopefully the comms aren't too alight and people aren't chatting too much in Discord as you focus for the restart. It looks like they're going to do another lap here, Hamish. So it's not going to be, probably next lap around they should be up for a restart, I'd say. Yeah,
I'd say the brand new Racecraft Simulations BMW M4 will be coming back into the lane for us here as our new safety car. We'll get ready to go again as soon as lap 3 is ready to go green. So that will mean that lap 4 will be the beginning of the CPS period. As long as we don't get a safety car called on lap 3, then lap 3 will be our first green lap run all throughout. But the new safety car. It's looking good on track. Nice and bright, hard to miss it, of course. And I think it's, you know, no matter how much we love the Mercedes and the grunt of the Mercedes, it is nice to have a car that looks more like the road variant than a race car variant of a car.
Yeah, it is. It's a striking livery on that. I'm actually a big fan of the Porsche as a safety car, but that's all personal preference. I haven't seen this BMW. In actual fact, when I noticed in the practice service, I would have had to buy it to drive it. So I've never actually driven the BMW, but I'm sure it's an absolute beast. And you know, they've done a great job on that livery. Yeah, you cannot miss it, and it's quite striking.
It's really nice to see. Speaking of some liveries, of course, Old Mate and Sons, they released their livery earlier in the week. Jamie Peters having some bad blinking issues at the moment. Hopefully that can sort itself out. Otherwise, he might be called to come through the lane and fix it himself. But the Old Mate and Sons car in behind Steve Grumley here of Stacey Boyd. Nice grey look to the car. Of course, the poppy and the hat on the bonnet. It's a nice look, and all of them in solidarity running the same livery this round. I mean, there's about 1 million of them on track, so it's pretty hard to miss.
Yeah, there is. Those diesel cars, they do stand out. Got the poppies all over them in remembrance. Really nice to see, Hamish. I like some of the personal things that people have put on their cars as well to remember, you know, people who have been, or family members or friends that have served. So there's some of that getting around too. And yeah, there we have an armed forces one that was in memory. Darren Crosby put a post up about how he was representing his mate over from Vietnam. So kudos out to you, Darren, and to your friend. I hope you're all doing well.
Yeah, it's quite a personal look to that one. We were trying to figure it out last week what it was on the side of the car on that back quarter panel, but the photos at least got us to do justice. That's actually a good camera angle for it. Really let us see the photo nicely there of his mate in the gunner, and so that's a respectful way to I'm trying to think of the word. Support his friend and give remembrance for that as well. But Parker's going to lead them away when we go green. Scotty, it's going to be lap 3 or lap 4 once we get going again. So in fact, the CPS will actually begin at the start of lap 5. To apologise for an extra lap there under the safety car, but Parker will lead them away to Kennedy. It's going to be imperative right now that he can keep the head cool, but that blinking car in the background of Jamie Peters, that could cause some dramas going forward if drivers aren't careful.
That is blinking significantly. He is in and out consistently there. So interesting. When do you let it go, Matty? When do you decide to go? I'd be suggesting you'd be going right off this apex as soon as you can. But he's held them up, Hamish.
Yeah.
He's holding them all the way to the line. So you've got to be careful here because you can overlap now. As a driver, you're allowed to overlap at the apex of the final turn. Looks like he's underway. He's given it the throttle, Hamish, and he has sent it across the line. They all look line astern at the moment. Jamie Peters still blinking in the background there would be a distraction.
Yeah, good old Blinky Bill, possibly distracting some of the drivers in the background as we come up through turn 1 once again under green. First time we've done it. Can the drivers stay nice and clean here tonight? They're really blinking bad at the moment. Come up towards turn 3. One of the toughest braking zones on the circuit. One of the toughest to get the most out of the car that you can. So they're all filing their way through. Just trying to keep it clean, as you mentioned, Scotty. And well, we don't want to have a repeat performance of lap 1. We just want to see them all trundle around and get into their rhythm and have some good battles on track.
A couple of guys getting the overtake done there on the inside. No one defending too hard that at the moment. So yeah, it looks like they've all had that time to reset from the start of the race, thought about the race, and thought, hey, we need to get through another 40 odd laps of this, so let's not destroy it. Let's get on with it. And they're setting about it. And yeah, Parker's setting out a good pace with Kennedy riding behind, Orbit, Grumley, Boyd and Peters, Grech. They're all thereabouts. So they're all in the draft, all line astern. Very nice at the moment. I'm sure as things go on, it's going to liven up for me.
They come through turn 9 under green for the first time here tonight when Parker crosses the line. That'll be the beginning of the CPS period when drivers can start getting those compulsories in. So they come down the main straight once again. As we mentioned, it's Parker who leads. Now begins the CPS period here for the 47 lap race, although it's only 43 to go off the end of lap 5, or 43 to go at the start of lap 5, I should say. So come up towards turn 3. So they've settled a little bit now, but it does look like there's been an incident in the background, possibly, in that Steve Lanyon on the main straight spun round.
Wow, he's got around there. That's that's a strange place to go around there, Hamish. He's got some front end damage, so I'm not sure what's happened there, but unless that escalated from turn 10 all the way down to the middle of that front straight, that's a really unusual spot. Yeah, looking at the overtake opportunity, we've got a car starting to send it up the inside here. I'm not sure who it is.
Oh, that's Sipple on Gander.
Oh, yeah, see, that's a little touch, and it's caused nose to tail here, Hamish. They are stuck astern.
Look at them all. They're like a little centipede of cars there, just all trapped together. Lucky for Gander, he's able to pull it off the track, but it's not what we want to see so early on. Unfortunately for him, he will now trundle to the back of the field, and Troy Sybil may have some explaining to do with the race control, so we'll have to wait and see what they say about that one. But we finally have the images of the Mustang Ute on track here tonight. Maybe we'll see a ZB crewman happening as well.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be looking at hitting, or I would imagine. It was a strange one, that, Hamish. I'm not sure whether netcode played an incident. Race control are going to have to rule on that or not, whether there would have been contact or not. Get the crystal ball out and see. I'm not sure, but that car is in a world of hurt at the moment. If you get any damage around on this track, especially side panel damage, you are compromised. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets in and pits in over the next lap or two and gets his compulsory pit stop done.
Well, he is under immense pressure at the moment from two East-West Racing cars of Matt Stoyles and Marty Hansen, trying to stay in the tow with him and try and keep up with him as well. The lack of rear wing doesn't do too much to the car's handling, being that the car has pretty much no downforce as it is. So I think the lack of rear wing is not going to hurt it too much. It's that front end damage that we need to worry about, because if anything's been hurt in that front end, it can easily cause the engine to start to wear down, and then we can also see as well possibly a blown engine at some point out of that Mustang. But it's going to be imperative for him to try and control that one. Buckland has now gotten past Blinky Bill of Jamie Peters. His teammate Shane Randall in the background and behind him now. So I'm going to go on board with Shane and we'll check out what it's like to follow that car. And that is scary. I mean, luckily for him, it's his teammate, but if that was a competitor, you would be fearing for your life right now, Scotty, that he's going to disappear and reappear right in front of your car.
Yeah, Buckland would be absolutely happy to be in front at the moment. Although when he is consistent like this, you know it's happening. So it's only if he's going to lag back into you is going to cause the issue. But he does seem pretty consistent that he is dropping in and out. There is an issue there. So I guess it's up to Randall. What do you do here? Shane, do you go for the overtake? If it was me, I'd want to get past him as soon as I could. But you could also risk some netcode.
Just to be careful of that netcode happening with him. But, I mean, I know that Jamie hasn't been able to go into Discord because of these internet issues previously. They don't really have much in the way of communication other than the voice chat in the sim, and even then you can't have it all the time. I thought there might have been a car off ahead then, but there wasn't. So, of course, the Simrigs Infinity Motorsport, nice little segue for me for their liveries. So, of course, running the poppies instead of the red line on the side of the car and on the roof of the car. I don't know if we get a good glimpse of it without going above the car. Is the names of family members who've served, whether it was in Army Reserves or in the armed forces overseas, and as well as friends. There's a car off there that I believe may have been, just kind of stroll up and find it because this may be a safety car. I believe that was Matty Monday, possibly on the side of the road. No, he's still going. Was it
I'm
Grech?
not sure who's there that's going
It's John Gallen.
down. John Gallen. He's stopped.
Yeah, he is.
The car doesn't look damaged, so I'm not sure what's going on here. Couldn't see that he's blown an engine there. Possibly has he had a malfunction, an equipment malfunction or something? I'm not sure what's going on. But,
This was it. So he ran it wide. I reckon that's a steering failure. And there was
yeah.
Monday off in the background.
There was a contact there too that got sent around. So yeah, that doesn't look like that looks like a hardware failure. That's what that looks like. Something he's got going on there.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the car's able to
He's
drive
still
at the
moving the
moment.
wheel.
He is. So maybe a pedal failure, perhaps, of
Yeah.
some description.
Maybe you can fill us in on one of his teammates.
Maybe, possibly. He blew the M. Engine. I think he's trying to spell engine. I think Arnie has fat fingers or he's had a bit too much drink tonight. Apparently he blew the engine midway through the corner. So quite interesting that happened. but as I was saying, so on the roof of the car has got the names of family and friends who've served or currently serving or was in Army Reserves of our team members. So quite a few names on the roof. I'm not going to go through all of them right now because, I'll be honest, I don't actually have the list. But I know that you're on the roof there, Scotty, as well as others too, currently serving members. Shout out to Bradley Albano, Kevin Kane, Noel Lawrence, our currently serving friends and family of our teammates as well.
Yeah, very nice tribute to you guys over at the Simmering Infinity Motorsport got going there, Hamish. I really like the big poppies on the front. Cannot miss them. Sorry, maybe it was another car I was thinking of. But yeah, you've got the soldiers up the sides, the tribute on top. Very, yeah, thank you very much for putting me up there. It was quite a surprise. The New Zealand fern leaf on the rear wing as well as the Southern Cross. It's a really nice tribute, that one, and you guys put a lot of thought and effort into it to match into your ordinary colours of the Simmering car.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I can appreciate everybody else as everyone is filing in, so I reckon we got a safety car, and we do. So safety car's out on track. So we have got our first CPS of the night. Could not have come at a better time for the majority of the field. They can just file in, of course. The critical lap was around about lap 17. So get the first stop in early. If there's another incident that happens around that critical lap point, that'll then allow you to come in and get the job done and just cruise on home from that point. As Parker drops, he's going to come out way ahead of Kennedy. I reckon Kennedy's taking a heap more fuel, and this could be the play right now, Scotty. If you're in this position, surely you're putting in as much fuel as you can to cut down on how long the stop's going to be under green if you have to take the next stop under green.
Yeah, it is. We had a similar one in split one, and I actually short-filled mine to go for track position. There is bonus points for leading the most laps, so that was on the mine, but it did come back to hurt me later. So this is a definite play, definite strategical call by Parker. But yeah, I agree. In this situation, Kennedy, I'd imagine he's put in full fuel. Those guys who pitted earlier, Hamish, I would be interesting to see the positions that they will make from this, because they would have come in, they wouldn't have had to put as much fuel in, so they might make some progress forward.
Well, one person I can say who hasn't made progress forward is Andrew Hoffman, who's currently down 26 positions off the start. He's done 2 stops. He came in on lap 1. He just came in on lap 6, but he will still need another pit stop. So this is looking like a tough day ahead for him. Other drivers who've done 2 stops so far. Robert Crow is currently swapping and changing positions with Jamie Peters. He has done his 2 stops. He's done 2 stops. He still needs 1 more. He came in on lap 1 and lap 7, and he only needed a little splash there just to get some more fuel in the car and continue on past that compulsory zone of lap 17.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. It's what I would have done if I was down in Robert's position. I would have come in, splashed, fresh tyres. As long as I had enough fuel to cover the tyres in that scenario, I think that they did. So, yeah, good play by him. He's brought himself up into P16, 17, depending on the blink at the time. But I wonder whether you guys are actually speaking about this, or did you say that he wasn't in Discord and you were unable to communicate what was going on and let, say, someone like Robert through a little bit earlier so he doesn't have that in front of him? So
Jamie wasn't. He hasn't been in there in a couple of weeks because of these internet issues. He didn't know if Discord was causing it or what have you, but he knows that if he would have been told by race control by this point that he's blinking, he would know that he wouldn't, he has the dexterity that he'd probably just let Robert go and then just try and be a nuisance to other cars if he's allowed to be back on track, and let Robert build a bit of a gap. But yeah, he let Wayne go. He let Wayne through when he won the Split 3 championship, for example. So we didn't even have to tell him that. He just knew. So, and it's nothing against him. It doesn't matter who's in the position, whether it was Shane, whether it was Robbie, whether it was Will, or even Wayne himself. Then it's a team game, obviously, and we want the drivers to do the best that they can. But they know as well, and they know in themselves, if someone has more pace, then they're willing to help them out, let them through, and then try and be a bit of a wall in behind the cars approaching.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been some big gainers here. Peter Baxter, he's up 14 positions into P6, Hamish. Darren Crosby, don't think he had the greatest start. I think he was involved in a lap 1 incident. he's up 23 positions. So, yeah, Satira up 6, Randall up 6, 8. Yes, there's some good gains. Dave Arney up 14. In some big losers at the moment who have lost a lot of ground, and you mentioned Hoff, he's down 26, Horton down 11, and Shepherd down 20, Lanyon down 15. So they're going to be looking to push ahead, those guys. Haven't had the great start, but there's winners and losers in all this when there's chaos like this. So it's like getting a wave around here. One of the cars going to get his lap back, which is fantastic. And something I really like about that, with the safety car, we do get the wave arounds. It brings drivers back into it, Hamish, and they're just not out there running around for rubber ducks, mate.
Yeah, this now allows Sean Cullen to get back onto the lead lap. We mentioned that he would need a safety car, or another safety car to get back on the lead lap. Well, he got it fairly quickly, so now he's got 40-odd laps to make up the positions that he's lost and just try and get something out of this race now. Maybe a race of attrition for him, try and keep it clean. We've already seen some chaos happen early on, Scotty, so he might know that if he can keep this clean, he can make up, 10, 20 positions just based on the amount of incidents that are happening at the moment. Peter Latham, that car is looking quite worse for wear, we will say. No front end on it at all. It's looking more like a rally car at this point that's been in a proper wreck into a tree. But he's still rotating, so the car must feel healthy, but it's looking more like a squished Aussie racing car than a V8 supercar at the moment.
Yeah, he's going to be compromised here, Hamish. The cars around him, they're looking clean, they're looking fast. He has made good track position, so this is a definite strategy call by Latham to maintain in that top 10. He's up 6 positions, P2, but yeah, that car is not looking good. That looks like something you might see across the paddocks there out in the bush, mate. Yeah.
It's, well, one thing you can say about it, he definitely won't overheat the engine. Plenty of airflow hitting that thing at the moment. But and maybe a bit of weight saving happening too with that one without so many panels on it. So, but yeah, not looking the best here tonight. Steve Grumley, he had a nice gain in that pit stop. Kennedy's now dropped down to P4, but we know that Latham will need another stop. Well, he'll need 2 more stops in this race. He hasn't even had a CPS yet. He came in on lap 1, so he needs 2 more stops still. So he's pretty much out of contention at this point without a absolute balk up of the whole field. But he'll be hoping maybe he can just, keep the track position and taking advantage of another safety car if we get another one out on circuit. But Grumley's looking good in P3. He's up 1 spot, and he's had that first of the compulsories. A couple of drivers who have had 2 compulsories. Well, Darren Crosby's already done 2, but he's going to need another one to get home because he's not at lap 17 just yet. So it'd be nice if he was in this position as of, lap 17. But he still needs 1 more stop, so he may drop some positions still, but he's got good track position at the moment for someone who's had 3 pit stops in this race.
Yeah, I believe he pitted on lap 1 too, Hamish. So, yeah, he definitely needs another pit stop to fulfill his compulsory requirements and to make it home as well. But he has made significant gains, and that goes down to it. If you get that damage early, he was blessed. He's had 2 safety cars, which has really helped him out. But he's kept himself in it. He got in, got his car fixed, filled it up, stayed on the lead lap. You put yourself in there with a chance, and by luck of it, you got that safety car that's helped out with it. It will be interesting to see, Hamish, how Matty Parker plays it this time. Is he going to do the same thing again and go from the back end of turn 10 onto the front straight? Is that when he's going to launch it? Or would you be thinking you'd go a little bit earlier this time? Maybe stretch the field out, make them all line astern, and just go from there and try and put the foot down, because he's going to have less fuel. He's going to be faster. So, yeah, there is that there, and he would know now he is compromised on his fuel strategy, so he's got to make ground.
Yeah, that's all he's got to do at this point in time. Keep the track position and make some gains where he can, being that he needs those 2 stops in this race. I was looking at the timing tower as you were talking. It's quite weird to see a full thing of white and then there's that little golden red as Peters keeps on dropping in and out, with Robbie gaining and then losing the position as he blinks back in. But at the moment, our top 15 as it stands: Parker to Latham to Grumley to Kennedy to Corbett. That's the 5 backs to Crosby, Boyd, Zatira, Grech. That's the 10, and then it's Randall, Buckland, Caparonis, Riali, and Arnold making up the top 15 on the road at the moment. It appears the safety car will be pulling away from the field at this time, so we're ready to go racing once again here out at the Red Bull Ring. And Well, hopefully we can last about 5 laps this time before another safety car, maybe more if we're lucky, Scotty.
Yeah, let's hope they can get some good racing in now. It's another time to reset again. Matty Parker's got the lead. he'll be onto it. Grumley and Kennedy, they'll see what Matty Parker done last time, and they'll be a wise up. Perhaps they'll be a bit more wise up. They can get the overlap after their last apex. Bring that car up the side, so that's another strategy. But he's still holding him here, Hamish, as we come around turn 9. So he's got one more turn before he has to open up this V8 and send it down the front straight.
Well, I bet you he will be happy that he has such a damaged Peter Latham in behind, because he could act like a wall for him to build that gap. But we know that Grumley will be willing to go for the move down at turn 3 if he can get the run out of 1. So it may not be long until Peter Latham gets eaten up by the field, but we'll see if he can hold his own here off the restart. We're going green once again. Parker leads the way, lap 11 of 47. And Grumley's already going to go for it up towards turn 1. He's already gotten it done into the braking zone, so Latham's let him have it. And now all the pressure will be on Matty Parker as Grumley tries to chase him down up towards turn 3.
Yeah, I'd say Stephen Kennedy will get this job done. He wants to get past Latham here. Latham's taken the inside there, but surely you've got to send it here if you can, Kennedy. Get it down, send it down the inside. He's had a look. He hasn't committed fully, Hamish. Latham gave him a little bit of room, but yeah, he's got on it, backed out of it, thought, hey, I'll bide my time another day, perhaps smart play. But he's got to get this move done. If he wants to stay with Matty Parker, we know he's going to be fast. We know Grumley's in his slipstream. He has to get past Latham.
Yeah, he needs to get past him as soon as possible, otherwise Grumley and Parker are going to run away with this thing. We see Corbett in the background. He's just trying to keep up with Kennedy as well as Baxter and Crosby in an intensifying battle towards the mid-pack of the top 10. But we can see Latham, he's able to keep up with it at the moment as Craig Healy's had an incident in the background. Where is he on my system? There he is. He's had a bit of a spin down at turn 3. He's back going again, but he's well far off the field with 17 seconds up to the next car.
He's a long way back there. Well, I don't know whether that was self-inflicted or he had a helping hand there, Hamish, but he's got a long road again, and he'll be praying for another safety car for sure. 17 seconds is a long wait. We're out of that draft. Draft does matter. So, hang on, have we had a change up here? Has Grumley made a mistake?
Grumley's still going. He's up at the top end.
Sorry.
That was Steve Lanyon you were looking at. Namely, so you know the differences. So Grumley's got pink on his front splitter and his wing mirrors. As we see Kennedy going for the move up the outside of Latham here up towards turn 3. Can he get it done? It looks like he has. That is a great move. Got it done before the braking zone. And that's what you got to try and do around here. You know, the braking zone, it's a tightening corner. It's a difficult corner to get the move done, but if you can get the run out of 1, get the move done before the braking zone, even if you're alongside, it's going to make your life a whole lot easier and a whole lot safer for the other car on the road too.
It's a corner you can actually defend from the outside, and even if someone gets the run up on you on the inside, you've got the drive on the outside to take. You can get that power down. You can hold position defending on the outside of turn 3. But yeah, at the moment, gee whiz, doesn't Grumley? He's looking good sitting behind Parker. It's an ideal position at the moment in this stage of the race. Save some fuel. You'll be able to jump him on the next stop. You're staying with this lighter car. Gee whiz, perfect position for Grumley and Kennedy at the moment.
Well, there's a good 6 seconds difference between Grumley and Parker's pit stop. There's then a further 3 seconds for Kennedy, so he can get the jump on both of them if he can stay with them here throughout the next stint of this race. We come down towards the line to start lap 13. Parker still leads the way, but he's under all sorts of pressure from Grumley. But if he's able to be smart about this and just hold with him, well, he's going to have the advantage come that pit stop, as we mentioned. And he should gain quite a nice gap on him as well if he can maximise the fuel strategy on the next stop.
Yeah, absolutely. And these three look like they're breaking away. You could say that Nathan may become a little bit of a block there along with Jamie Peters, but yeah, it looks like it's got it done. Corbett's had to send. He's come down on the inside, made that pass nicely. He needs to go with these top 3, keep himself in it. That bright green HSR livery, it looks very good on track, very striking. So the next one in line for Latham is going to be Baxter. Now Baxter did make some ground. He's up 14 positions, so he'll be hungry to try and get this pass done as early as possible.
Yeah, the fire of the Fire and Ice liveries there from his team alongside Rob Baxter down in split 3. He's got Crosby all over the back of him, but they'll just be concentrating on getting past Latham as quickly as possible. and continuing their battle on into the rest of this race. They've got the American Stacey Boyd in behind in a little bit of a broken gap now. They've then got Satira following in behind them, as well as Grech. So a couple of old mate and sons boys up the top end of town already. You see 4 of them in the top 15 so far.
Yeah, they're driving absolutely beautiful. Holding their position. Stacey Boyd's only down 1 position, so he's doing extremely well. Grech, he's another one who's just down 1 position, but holding position. Gary Buckland, another one who's just lost a position, still holding position. So at this stage of the race, you'd be happy with that. Big movers, Randall up 8, Matera up 6, and Crosby up 23 positions. So you should do this.
Baxter and Arnie as well. They're inside the top 15. They're up 14 spots. Morella's up 12. And Cody Duggan, the man who was under fire last week for mistakes that he's made out of Silverstone, he's up 22 positions as he gets past Ed Fox. So good to see. He's had a bit of a resurgence, but there's contact up ahead. I believe that was Buckland and possibly Randall as well, who's now dropping down the order. There's Buckland. There's big damage on the back of that car, and Randall's now rejoined the field back outside the top 20.
Well, that exploded. I thought we were just into a nice cruising section of the race, but there is some contact there, and yeah, Buckland again. Gee whiz, he's been unfortunate. Let's have a look at this, Hamish. Oh, there's rear end contact there. Yeah, so perhaps that might be on that Simbriggs car, unfortunately, there, Hamish. Looked like he had plenty of track to his right-hand side.
Yeah, quite possibly. We'll have to see what race control say about it, but that now shakes up the order up ahead with Caperonis and Grech. They move up well into the top 10. It's 3 old mate and sons cars in a row, leading with Stacey Boyd. Riali's now in P11, Arnie's P12. Crow has gotten past his teammate Peters into P13, but now Matty Stoyles has to deal with the blinky bill of Jamie Peters, but he has got a nice little gap, so there is a little bit of leeway now if he can maybe try and line this up in future and get it done out of the corner down a straight.
Yeah, smart play by those two there. Definitely let your teammate go by, and yeah, Jamie Peters will slot it behind. Hopefully stay with Crow and Arnie. Real Caperonis as well. We haven't talked much about Caperonis, but he's up 7 positions in the top 10. He's the last player in the top 10 here. He's doing very well. He's got a bit of a gap in front of him, his teammate in front of him, a little bit of pressure behind by Mario Real, but yeah, nice positioning at the moment for Remy there.
Yeah, he's becoming a little bit of a hot commodity here in Split 2. He's pretty much the next driver that we predict could be up on the rise, and even into Split 1 for the first time in future if he can pull a whole season together. We know that Grech is capable of it. We know Buckland's still on the bubble as well. But Caperonis, I mean, there's a fair bit. You can make the comparison. The Caperonis and maybe the likes of Shane Randall are very similar type of driver. They're on the bubble. You know, they're able to finish in that top 5 in the championship, and they're kind of the next ones that we could see move up into Split 1 for the first time in future. But again, they've just got to be able to put a whole season together and become one of those 100% drivers that we speak about, where they don't make so many mistakes. They're able to stay consistent. As we can see Duggan going through on Norris. But yeah, just staying consistent for a whole season and getting those consistent top 10s, top 5s. Randall got into the top 4 last season without even getting a podium. Caperonis could be the next one to do that in future. Yeah,
he could be. Nice move there. Well defended as well. So yeah, those guys got through turn 3, absolutely beautiful, and that's how you do it. Gave up the position. The quantum his car didn't quite get it. It's one of those liveries that's really striking on track 2 there, Hamish. I know the guys over there took a lot of pride this week in their livery for the ANZAC Day race. Yeah, absolute, and there it is there. That's exactly the one I'm talking about. So, yeah, really nice livery, that one. Fits into their theme. You know how they have that little bit of a funky theme going with their cars? And yeah, that one fits right into it beautifully.
I think it is nice. Personally, I think it's a little bit too busy, but I think it gets the message across nicely. And it is nice on track, and it is quite striking, as you mentioned. But maybe a little bit too busy for my taste, but it still looks good nonetheless, and you know, you at least got to put respect in that they went to the effort to do it, and they put it on the car as well. And in fact, I actually don't mind the little spots around on the bottom of the car. I think it actually creates a nice little change of balance with the yellow and the blue, and you know, just add something to it. So maybe when they're making a livery next season, you know what, chuck a bit of red on there with the yellow and the blue. Could really change it up a little bit for them.
We have seen some offset liveries where guys do that, and I know exactly what you're talking about there. The blue, the orange, the white, and the red. So, would look really good. But yeah, the red there's to represent the poppies, I believe. So yeah, very nice. And shout out to the Becky's performance guys out there for the library. She's a good one on track for Funkies we talked about. But that's how they roll over there, mate.
Simon is questioning my my validity as a graphic designer. It was simple. I'm a graphic designer by trade, so I think out of anyone, I have the ability to put the comment on it. Everyone has a different taste, though, and they Scotty. So everyone likes something a bit different. My style's different to other people's styles, and some people prefer different things. One thing I will say is that I do like the WKMP one, even though it is we'll call it a rip-off of the Russell Ingall Super Jeep Auto Car. I actually like the inclusions that they've made for this ANZAC Day Living. The little sunset and silhouette of the soldiers on the side of the car. It is just a nice, simple upgrade to it, and I think it looks really nice. And there's been a couple more bigger changes to the likes of Hoffy's car, who has the camo where the red is, but it is nice to see it on track, and it's a good little representation as well.
Yeah, it is. It definitely shows the ANZAC theme. They've kept with their sponsor, Super Cheap Auto, on the side. But yeah, it definitely portrays the ANZAC theme. It's not over busy that you talked about. I guess that's why it's striking to your eye. But I do like it. They've done a great job there over at WKMP, and yeah, everyone knows what they're doing, what they're representing. So, and I do like the ANZAC, the sun on the bottom as well. It fits beautifully for the V8 Supercars.
So back up the front now, Parker still leads to Grumley and Kennedy. These guys are settling into their rhythm now as we have started lap 18 of this race. So it's flowing away nicely here, and we're just starting to fast track some of these laps now, Scotty, as we see some drivers coming in. So we're past the point of the critical lap, so they can come in, fill up the tank and get home. But Latham, Grech, Caperonis, Riali, Crow, Peters, Norris and Cullen all into the lane now for possibly their last stop of the race. As we can see Reese going under fire at the moment from Brett Taylor. We've got it done up the inside. This is a nice little battle pack at the moment here, involving Scotty Weston, Taylor, DeGoey, Peck and Munro at the back of it as well. In his 100th race here tonight, a little bit of a message on the top of the driver's door for him. And he's just trying to keep a nice, clean, consistent run up 9 spots so far and inside the top 20.
Yeah, this is a beautiful battle pack for me. Will Munro, he's one of those drivers. He'll be looking at this, assessing. He's got 4 cars in front of him. He'd be thinking, well, how am I going to be able to pass them on my save some fuel now, get them on my next pit stop, see how that comes out. Those drivers you mentioned who are pit stop, have their last and final pit stop now, lap 18. That's a long way to home, Hamish. That left rear tyre is going to hurt. They're going to be compromised in the last 5-10 laps with maintaining good pace. So they've thrown the car there. They've thrown an alternative strategy. I like it. I think it's a good option. We do see a lot of drivers with their strategies follow the same sort of thing. And yeah, it's good to see a few drivers there throw it in. It's going to make other drivers start thinking about it as well. So whether they react to it or whether they go, no, I'm going to go the overcut on you. Let's see how we go later in the back end of this race.
This is a little group of big gainers at the moment. Weston's up 22, Taylor's up 20, DeGoey's up 17, Peck up 21 positions. So all these boys are up a heap of spots. Reese DeGoey, though, he'll be someone who doesn't want to make the same mistake as last week, where he mistakenly only took 1 CPS. And he ended up getting disqualified from that race. So unfortunately for him, he needs to make sure he does come through the lane once again, as he's only done 1 stop here tonight and he can do on lap 5.
And he's compromised off that exit there, Hamish. So it looks like Peck might have a little look on here. And as I mentioned, you can get the job done on the outside, but no, he's backed out of it. Let DeGoey keep it for this time. Will he get the drive off this turn? Super important to line yourself up into turn 3. Looks like they've both got a nice drive up there, and Peck's going to have to play another lap to get this job done, as Taylor and Weston, like, they're starting to pull ahead on these couple of drives here.
Yeah, they're starting to build a little bit of a gap from these guys battling. This is now also dragging Steve Lanyon onto the back of Will Munro as he starts to get backed up into him off the back of this battle as well. So we could be upwards of 8 cars in one battle in a moment here if they can all line up together. A big Cowie acoustic rock sponsorship on the side of that performance sim racing car. Get to commentate with Cowie every Wednesday night over on SOW TV. Great guy, typical Queenslander, but he's a great buddy of mine and he does well in his acoustic rock. Haven't had a chance to go see him live yet as he is based in Brisbane, but a little shout out to Cowie if you're in the Brisbane area and you want to go see some nice live acoustic rock music. And check him out at cowieacousticrock.com and you'll see where his next dates are happening.
Yeah, nice shout out for him, and yeah, he's doing a good job with Cowie over at SRW there, mate. I've tuned in a couple of times and listened in, and yeah, enjoyable broadcast. But he is under a little bit of pressure. He's realised that he's reacted to Hamish, and he has put the foot down and got himself a lot closer to Taylor in front, which has also now put back under fire with Will Munro, who is 0.2 behind. So. Yeah, and Lanyon, gee whiz, it is starting to fire up here. To see that turn of pace by Goey to be able to go, hey, I'm under fire by Peck. Bang, he's put the foot down, he's got himself on the back of Taylor. And yeah, here we are, you know. That's your farmer, he backs out of it. He thought about it too. He was going to have a look.
He did, yeah, that was, I think, if maybe a year ago he would have gone for that, but I think he made the smarter decision there just to back out of it. And, go for it another day. That's a big slide though from DeGoey ahead, and that's contact with Peck. Lucky that Munro and Lanyon were able to avoid there, but that is a massive compression lock from Reese DeGoey, and unfortunately it's caught up Mark Peck ahead in the QPR car.
Yeah, well, looks like he downshifted a couple years there, mate. As you said, got himself into his own slide and a little bit of contact. Didn't look too bad though, Hamish. Car does look all right on the front end for Pecky, but the other guys navigated through that really well. Lanyon, Munro, Monday, Martin. So he was sideways 90 degrees across that track. So good, really good awareness by these drivers to be able to navigate that stripping car there.
Weston into the pits now as well. He comes in for his second CPS of the night. A couple of drivers who I think have taken full fuel on that first stop. All the drivers who've done over a minute in the lane. So Todd Duggan, Mick Clifton, Halil Cesar, Will Munro. Mark Peck on at the moment, as well as Toddy Martin, Wayne Shepherd, Russell Gander, Michael Power, Marty Hansen have all taken an extended stop, although Hansen had big damage, so he took a big fix on that car with what I believe would have been a non-fast repair stop, as he was in the actual pit stop for over a minute and 20 seconds. So he's done well though to be back where he started at P24 off the back of such a long stop, but where he could have been if he didn't have that much time in the pit stop.
Yeah, that's a long time in the pit stop. We did see on camera there that Lanyon got the job done on Peck. So that was a good move up the inside. But yeah, that's a hard luck story there with Hansen, mate. It's unfortunate for him, but he's got a bit of work to do. Long way in the race yet, so he's got himself back up. But yeah, Lanyon's got his eyes on a Taylor now, so he's trying to stretch out. He has pulled a little bit of a gap already, Hamish, and Rob Peck, though it's closed in a little bit onto turn 9, I think that is. Yeah, turn 9. Come down into turn 10 here. Really difficult corner because that they are where you start to rack up the incidents, turn 9 and 10.
Yeah, it's very easy to pop the curb strike through there. Grumley's under all sorts of pressure here from Kennedy. He attempted the move down at turn 3, wasn't able to get it done just yet. This battle is just starting to heat up between the two Stevens at the front of the town. What this is doing, though, is it is allowing Matty Parker to gain a bit of space now, gain a bit of on-track position comparatively to these drivers, and hopefully bridge the amount of time that he's going to have to take in the pit stops over them needing a longer stop on the next one.
Yeah, he's got it out to 1.2, 1.3 seconds. They are still within draft range, but Kennedy's realised the situation here. He's fully aware of it, and he's saying, Grumley, you need to go now, or I'm going to get past you. And you can see he is on it too, just by the car's behaviour. That rear end is sliding. Maybe the extra fuel, the tyres are starting to, wear down a little bit now. But yeah, if Kennedy keeps pulling these tenths per lap, like he did last lap, which was, if I have a look at the timing there, last lap was 6 tenths or 5.5 tenths, Hamish, that he pulled.
In the background of Matty Stoyles. This is what's happened. Mick Clifton up on the outside. Oh, and that's big contact into turn 3. Nearly rode the wall up there. Lucky to keep the car rolling. And at least for him,
car's not out of the running just yet, but that's not what you want at this point in time of the race at the halfway point.
Absolutely not. I'm not sure what happened there. Like a side contact. No doubt Race Control will get a call, have a look at that, and they can sort that one out. But I don't know what's going on with these EWR car, GMK logistics car, Hamish. There's a couple of them been in the war so far.
Yeah, they are. They're under fire here tonight a little bit. I think Hansen's obviously had heavy damage. Stoyles has been involved. I mean, Weston's already been through the lane. A little bit of a wound on the front of that car as well, as he has Grech and Robert Crow in behind him. Grech down 17 spots, but he has done, crucially, a second compulsory stop as well as Crow, so these guys could be in the top 10 battle later on in this race if they're able to save the tyres for the final couple of laps.
Yeah, not a bad strategy. I like it. I like the alternative strategy. It should have drivers thinking about it. Bro, he's got to stay with Grech here, stay in his draft, see what the last 10 laps go. I mean, we are only coming up to halfway through this race, Hamish. We have got a long, long way to go. We've got the compulsory pit stops out. They're going to have to manage their tyres. They're really going to have to look after them to be in the top fight. But will the undercut work? We're only going to find out in those after everyone completes the final and last compulsory pit stop.
Well, now that we are at the halfway point in the race, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take this time to thank our sponsors of the series, of course, Racecraft Simulations, Parramatta Isuzu Ute, Player One Sim Gear, Nova Sim Sports, Logitech G, as well as giving us support out towards the Bale and Stewart Foundation too. At this point in time, we are going to take our ad break that we like to do at the halfway point of each race. Unfortunately, we got 2 early pit stops, so it means it was forced up towards the halfway point, but focus up the front for this one. There's a little bit of contact there. We're up the front now. Enjoy the action as we go through our little ad roll. Great to be back, ladies and gentlemen, after our little ad roll there. Brought to you by Racecraft Simulations, the title sponsor of the V8 Veterans. Good to check out how the front end action of town is happening at the moment. There's a nice battle happening between Barella and Clifton at this stage, but we may suspect Clifton could cop a penalty for the contact with Matt Stoyles a little bit earlier on in the race. Shane Randall in the background as well. He has had a drive-through penalty for the contact with Gary Buckland at this stage as well.
Yeah, there's a little bit going on with these guys here. Barella, Clifton, Caesar, Randall. Caesar's been one of those ones I was watching earlier. He played the smart game. He let I'm trying to think who it was go through. It might have been Arnie that he let go through and didn't fight the battle. You know, Arnie's checked out in front, but he still put himself into a position where he's potentially on for a top 10 finish. And smart play by Hillel Caesar, something we may not have seen from him a couple of seasons ago. He's got a beautiful run off turn 3. We're going to have a little look on the inside. Will they defend? Yes, he's defending on the outside. So you're probably not going to get the pass done when someone defends the inside like that there. In Mick Clifton, unless you run wide, he's gone for the check back here, Hamish. but Clifton's still going to have the inside as you come into turn 6. So it's going to be a hard way around to make this stick at this moment, but he's looking quite fast. Got it side by side. He's in with a chance, but yeah, plenty of racing room going on. Into turn 7, side by side again, Hamish. This is quite good. Going to get the drive off here. He's got the inside line, takes the shortcut. He's got the job done, Hamish. Unbelievable driving, Hillel Caesar. Absolute credit to you and Clifton. That was beautiful to watch.
Pure grit to stay in that battle right there. Anyone else could have easily just backed out of it, but he stayed in it. Plenty of room left between the drivers on circuit. Nice respectful racing and a brilliant move off the exit of 7 into turn 8. Saw Barella drop back off the exit of 3. I reckon he may have actually copped a slowdown over that corner possibly, or even up through 1. So he had to let all 3 drivers through actually of Caesar, Clifton and Randall, but this now moves Caesar into P9, Clifton into P10 and Randall is outside in P11 with Barella following in behind. See here though, Caesar still leading the way up towards turn 3. This battle is still continuing on as they come through here. Nicely defended on the racing line. Moved over just slightly as he turned in, as he just wanted to cover the middle of the track, make it hard for Mick just to shoot it up the inside there of him. See Grumley still in a nice battle. He's trying to chase down Matty Parker up the front end of town at the moment. Let's see if we can find someone to go on a lap with here of the circuit. You know what? Let's go on with the on. He's going to be down in front of the car. I want to find a clean car. Someone we know is actually going to do a clean lap around here. You know what? Let's just do it with Steve Grumley, who's going to cross the line in just a moment's time here. So coming up now towards the start-finish line. It's a long, fast straight up towards turn 1, isn't it, Scotty? We're going to try and get down the gears as fast as possible down to second gear here for the run through turn 1. Want to try and hug that apex on the inside. Try not to run it out wide onto the sausage curb as we come up on the long, fast run up towards turn 3. It's a hard braking zone. Can get out on the AstroTurf on the left-hand side in the braking zone. That's the one that I like to run. It's the GT line. It's the run that Grumley's also doing as well. And then turn it in slightly late. Try and hit that apex on the inside to be able to maximise the run up towards turn 4.
Yeah, it looks like he took that turn into second gear there, Hamish. You have got the option first and a short shift to second, but it's a big run now down to turn 3. Crucial. It's a downhill braking just after the 150. You're going back into third gear. You need to pick up the curb on the inside right. That'll help you come around. Apply the throttle smooth. Set yourself up to turn 6. Looking to be braking around about the 75-metre board.
So I had a question from Jackos. He's asking me his driver Mark how it is. Full well knowing that Mark has not been driving as we come through turn 6 and turn 7. It's a long run. Can hold third, can go up to fourth if you want to through these little sections of corners. You want to hug that curb on the left, on the right, and shoot it far out wide to the left to get the next portion of the circuit. Losing all my words, as you come through turn 9, it's a fast run. Got to be careful the curb straight on the left-hand side. Otherwise, you can cop a slowdown, and you can do it though all the way up to turn 3, as we mentioned. Round the final corner, ends out the lap for us here out at Red Bull Ring. Great display there from Stephen. Great lap from him as well, but he has lost a bit of time here to Matty Parker up ahead of him in P1, as he now sits 1.2 seconds up the road in the lead of this race.
Yeah, he's holding that time, Hamish. He has been for the last 4 or 5 laps, that 1.2, 1.3 seconds. Kennedy did fall off the back of Grumley there for a little bit. He was a second behind, but he's brought it back up now to within 0.4 of a second. So both Grumley and Kennedy are in really good positions here because we know Matty Parker's underfilled. So in comparison to those two guys. So this is going to be interesting. We know Kennedy's carrying the heaviest fuel. Strategy is going to play an important part. Who's going to blink first, Hamish? Who do you think will blink first in this? It's going to have to be Matty Parker. If these guys are onto it, they'll follow him in. That's my guess.
A couple of drivers in the lane at the moment, but Clifton has now come in. Wayne Shepherd has come in as well as Will Munro in the background. Clifton is now going to come out onto the track. He'll come out in P23. Jamie Peters coming past the lane 2. Still blinking on track. I'm surprised that Racing Control let him go on this long. Munro's now out of the box. Here comes Shepherd. Oh, they're going to come out side by side here in a very, very tight exit of the pit lane. No, Munro concedes and gives Shepherd the position. Both of them, though, had a clean run so far. It's been good to see, but running on the same strategy here tonight as well. Coming in lap 28. They want to have a nice 20-lap run home after initially coming in on lap 7.
Yeah, they've gone for a little bit of an undercut here, these two guys, and they're well played. They're out there. They're in a strong position. Two teammates doing an undercut, potentially an undercut. And pitting early, yeah, I like it, Hamish, because it's going to make it very difficult for anyone else who comes out behind them to move forward. You've got your wingman there. There's nothing better knowing that, especially if you're just in front there, being Wayne Shepherd, and you've got Will Munro behind you, he's going to have your back.
Well, they've also had a nice short stop too, although Will did actually miss the box, so he should have had a 13-second stop, but he had to roll back a little bit just to get back into the pit bay. Matty Parker,
I know that feeling.
yeah, it's really bad. Matty Parker into the lane out of the lead of this race. Barella, Lanyon, Peck is all into the lane at the moment. So this now promotes Steve Grumley to the lead of the race. He will get an extra point for leading the lap, but he is under intense fire here from Stephen Kennedy in behind. Although I do believe that Matty Parker will take home the award for leading most laps, as he has led the first half of this race and beyond up till lap 29.
Yeah, there is those bonus points, something to think about, and yeah, maybe well played by Grumley to lead this lap. Although, I know if I was Stephen Kennedy at this stage, I would definitely be pitting this lap. I'd cut off any advantage Parker's going to get on green tyres, and potentially with his fuel, he should be fuel saving a little bit. He's got the less amount to take. He's potentially take the lead again here, Hamish.
Grumley's in, so Kennedy's now going to take the lead of this race. One thing that should be made apparent, though, is Parker's actually stuck in behind Matty Monday at the moment. So he's unable to get the move done just yet. So this now will give an advantage to Steve Grumley, because he's going to be able to take the shortest stop, and he's going to have clear track ahead, whereas Parker's getting held up here by some traffic down towards the end of the top 15.
Yeah, there's another livery by the Fishy Motorsports. They do a fantastic job over there. I know they take quite a lot of pride in their outfit, their livery, and the way they handle themselves on track. So, yeah, really nice to see the Fishy boys with their ANZAC livery. Quite striking again, Hamish. Lest we forget on the sides, some poppies on the front, and our soldiers all on the panels there. Looks like Parker's going to get this job done coming into turn one. He has to make it sticky. If he can, he needs to make it stick.
Well, importantly, he needs to get this move done, because Matty Monday has just done a world of good for Steve Grumley, who's come out ahead of Matty Parker on the road. And look at the gap that he has back to Parker. He's going to be out of the exit of turn 3 by the time that Parker even hits the braking zone. So that is a massive gain for him there. Smart play from Grumley, a little bit of a blunder from Parker in the pit stop strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. He's made huge gains. Kennedy has to pit now. He has to cover Grumley, otherwise he will lose out, because he's got the fresh tyres. No, he hasn't. He's gone around again. Hamish, this is a really interesting strategy. Maybe he's thinking, hey, I'll keep your tyres fresh for the end, but you're going to give the undercut away there, Kennedy. Got to be careful, mate.
So Corbett's now in. Crosby's going to come around. He's going to claim P2 on the road. So yeah, importantly, Kennedy needs to try and come in as soon as possible, although he's got not much traffic ahead of him at the moment. Clear road, so he's able just to push on. Maybe he's thinking that Grumley and Parker could hit traffic, but there's a fair gap between them and the car ahead of them in Peter Baxter. So they've got a clean run as well, and they've got clean air ahead of them, so they're able to push on just as much as Kennedy is. He needs to try and counteract that undercut as soon as possible.
Yeah, the tyres are going to play a role here. It'll be interesting to see the lap time, see what Grumley does hold out. Whether Matty Parker is foot down now, he realises, hey, I can consolidate possibly third, but I've got to be careful, because Crosby and a couple others are going long. Boyd's going long. So Arnie was up there. He's got to be careful. He's got to have a decent run now to be able to hold a podium out.
He does not want to give up absolutely anything in this stage of the race, of course. As we continue on throughout the rest of this one, lap 31 of 47 at this stage in time. Sheena making sure that any others that may happen in future, we want to try and keep an eye on, of course. But Grumley, he's got a nice gap. This is a great gain on Parker now. And this whole gain was done because of how much shorter his stop was. 22.26 for Grumley in the last stop, 27.72 for Parker. So the fact that he got caught up behind traffic meant that he was just subject to Grumley being able to take advantage of the longer stop under the safety car and the shorter stop under green.
Yeah, absolutely. And we need to see what his time is. He'll be trying to make hay. He's got clear air, and that's key, Hamish. When you come out of that pit stop, you want that clean air. He's got the fresh tyres under him. I'd imagine he'll be pushing hard as. Who have we got? We've got Randall coming into pit lane now. So he's going to get his final stop done. I wonder whether others will react following. Baxter's decided to go around again. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he comes out. One that I'm a little worried for at this stage would be Kennedy. I'm not sure how the results turn out on EC and Hamish. Oh, we've got a car around there. Who was that? Clifton, as he had contact.
Possibly
was that
contact. Oh yeah, that's big contact, and unfortunately for Toddy, that might have some answering to do with race control, but it is their decision at the end of the day. He's trying to redress it, but unfortunately for him, Mick Clifton's going to be forced. Oh no, he's out there. I thought he was going to be forced to go through the lane, but he's on the racing line as well. I mean, he's trying to redress. It'd probably be better for Toddy to get off that racing line and just redress it, you know, offline there instead of sitting in the path of cars, I think.
Yeah, he had enough overlap, but he just got on the throttle a little bit too early by the looks of it, Hamish, and just pushed himself into Clifton, wasn't it? So, yeah, that's really unfortunate for him. They're having a great battle, but very lucky Clifton then. I thought he was going to go down pit lane, and if he did, he would have got a 40-second penalty for unsafe pit entry.
Yeah, he would have, but at least to give, obviously, Toddy some credit, he did redress the position, so it was at least good that he redressed it. They have dropped a heap of spots, but because they've dropped a heap of spots, there could still be a penalty coming, but at the end of the day, that is up to race control, of course. But Kennedy still leads, and he's still staying out there, so I think at this point now, he kind of has to go long. He can't, like, he has to try and just build as much gap as he can. He's got Lanyon in behind, who is a lap down, but is the teammate of Steve Grumley. He'll be putting all sorts of pressure on Kennedy right now to try and make him make a mistake and allow his teammate to come through into the lead of this race.
What I noticed, Hamish, was the last lap around, probably didn't make ground. Kennedy done a 30.367, and as I look at the time he count now, probably done a 31.1. Well, yeah, he's made the right call. If he's staying out, he's making time on him, and we know he's got less fuel to take, or should have less fuel to take. So yeah, great play.
I'll just note as well, Shane Randall's into lane again. Last time was actually a drive-through, and that was off the back of the Gary Buckland incident earlier in the race. This time, though, that is a genuine pit stop. He's come in, he's stopped in the box, and now comes out onto the racetrack, in behind his teammates in Will Munro and Wayne Shepherd. So, unfortunate for him, but unfortunately he had to pay the piper for the mistake that he made with Gary Buckland earlier in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see Latham, he's still going around B21 with that squashed up car. Maybe he didn't have a fast repair left, Hamish. I'm not sure what's going on there, but he's still getting that car around and doing a great job to do it.
The Racecraft Simulations Aussie racing car class here out of Peter Latham. He leads the three Simrix boys of Wayne Shepherd, Will Munro and Shane Randall. Just outside the top 20, of course, this is P21 on the road for Peter Latham, P22, P23, P24 for the Simrix cars. Russell Gander's a bit further back down the road and picking about 11 seconds in P25, but he's up 10 spots in this race, so he's had a good gain. Becky's up 11, Keely's up 12, just outside the top 30, but the biggest gainer so far is Darren Crosby. He's up 28 positions, but does need that second pit stop. As we can see, there's a car moving over. That's Brett Taylor, possibly letting all these guys pass, seeing as he is a lap down now. He lets them all go, but unfortunate for Brett, he's had some real good moments throughout his past, or throughout last season, especially over in SIW, but hasn't really been able to put it together here in Vets so far. So hopefully he can find the pace that he needs and just try and make some gains. But he's a top two at the moment for M1. Both of them need a pit stop at this stage, though.
Yeah, the M1 guys have been on fire of late. They're in form. Drivers do come in and out of form, and both Kennedy is in absolutely blistering form. Crosby, he's coming to form himself. Didn't have a great start, Hamish, but he's made the most of it, and strategy has got him up into P2 at the moment. Still, crucially, has a pit stop to serve. Who have we got coming into the lane now? Kennedy's in. Kennedy radio. This is gonna be the tail. I think he's going to come out in front. We'll see. What's your thoughts here, Hamish? I think he'll have it over Grumley.
Yeah, I think the fact that he's gone slightly longer, he's been able to set consistent laps of that low 131, high 130 rate. Boyd and Caesar are also in. Arnie and Crosby have stayed out. Whether Peter Baxter's going to come in as well, I don't know, but Grumley's going to come around the final corner. Kennedy is in the pit box, but he's crucially at the end of the pit lane, so there is still quite a fair bit of time. Kennedy's coming out, though, as Grumley's going to cross the line, so Stephen Kennedy is going to retain the provisional lead of this race ahead of Grumley. going long was the superior strategy for him. It kept him in check, and he has quite a good gap now over Grumley in behind.
Yeah, he's made that work. I didn't think it was going to work. I thought he had to react to Grumley, but Grumley got a little bit of traffic there, Hamish, and that's something we couldn't see. But yeah, he's definitely got the lead here. He's definitely got a nice gap. Although pressure tyres, he might be able to hold it. Grumley needs to try and hold it, see if he can gain in, get on his slipstream. We've still got 12 odd laps to go here, Hamish. He may be able to fight back, but gee whiz, it's a tall order here. And once again, Kennedy has played that MasterCard. He's played that beautifully. He's at P3 for the most amount of laps there behind Parker, Grumley and himself, and just made it work.
I think crucially now, Grumley needs to just conserve those tyres. Obviously, he has 5 lap older tyres than what Kennedy does. He's got him in his sights. 3.5 seconds just about is the gap. Conserve the tyres. That way he can push on for the final 5 laps, and they're not going to be overcooked come that time of the race. But really needs to be careful now. He doesn't want to give up too much speed, but needs to try and back up onto Kennedy as well. So it's going to be a tough order. It's going to be a real balancing act for him, but if he can do it, well, then I think we're going to be on for a cracking end to this race, as he has got the provisional leader in his sights, as Dave Arney is now in the lane as well. So this will now promote Kennedy up to P3, Grumley up to P4, and then Parker back into the top 5 as we come into the final 11 laps of this race.
The other play that may come into it is Matty Parker onto Grumley here, Hamish, because he is gaining those few tenths per lap. We've got 10 laps. There is a 3-odd second gap between them, or less than 3 seconds, I think, now. So potentially he could get up there. He gets in that slipstream. It's worth those extra couple of tenths. We may see that come into it. Maybe a good battle between second and third. Maybe they'll drag themselves up onto Kennedy. Very interesting race, the way it's played out at the moment. It has got a little bit of lap traffic by the looks of it in front of him. I think that's, well, actually, he's on the lead lap. So he's got the right to race, hasn't he?
Yeah,
he's got the right to be there.
He's in P2 at the moment, so he's got the right to race him. It's not lapped, it's just, well, he needs a pit stop, and he's been out there ever since lap 5. So he's done over 30 laps on one set of tyres as that on-fire car of Peter Baxter. Darren Crosby's now into the lane for his final stop of the race. Will Peter Baxter follow him, or will he try and get an extra point for leading a lap of this race? But it's whether he has enough fuel to actually keep on going, because I'm not sure how much he's put in and how long he's going to be able to go for.
He's doing a phenomenal job. I think I've seen him peel off there down into pit lane. Yes, he is. He's in. And that has opened up Kennedy. He's got fresh air in front of him. That probably worked out beautifully for him. Grumley's like, oh, come on. I don't need your help in that leader at the moment. I want to get up there and have a battle. But it'll be interesting to see where Pete Baxter comes out. He has been one of the bigger movers tonight, Hamish, and has driven well. Like, he was holding his own and made those tyres work for him that whole stint.
So what this is now, well, I can see Grumley's actually now dropping off the back of Kennedy. Might need to be saving some fuel at this point, Scotty. Maybe he's underfilled the car just slightly.
I would suggest going by what I've seen in chat. There is a little bit of fuel saving going on there, but he had to try and make it work, Hamish. So I guess he ran the gamble. He ran that gauntlet with fuel, as we all do, and he's realised, hey, I need to save a little bit now to power on. Maybe if he's lucky, another safety car, he'll be right to the end. But yeah, it's got a bit of work to do, and Kennedy's just driving beautifully. He's the informed driver here of Split 2 at the moment, from my observation. He's done it for the last few rounds. What is it? He's been on the top spot 3 out of the 5. Is that correct, Hamish?
Yeah, he's won 3 of the first 5 races of the season. Just quickly, Scotty, Matty Parker has dropped out of the session, crucially out of P3 in this race.
Has he had a internet dropout?
He has. He's dropped due to packet loss.
Oh, wow. That is devastating. It's been absolute rife. Maybe not so much in Split 2 and 1 occasionally, but gee whiz, we've seen it throughout the V8 Vets, and it's been really affecting a lot of races, and that's a real shame there for Matty Parker, because he had a strong finish coming on. The podium was there for him. He was making ground on Grumley, so yeah, he won't be out there.
Now done is it's now promoted Glenn Corbett onto the podium, Darren Crosby into P4, and Dave Arney into P5. I think at the moment we kind of have to surmise that Crosby and Arney are our 2 drivers of the day. We can't even really separate them at the moment either, because they're up a similar amount of positions, and they could be on for a podium if they can get past Glenn here.
Yeah, absolutely. Glenn's been the silent achiever. He hasn't lost a position. He's held his P3 position at this stage. Crosby and Arnie, well, they've got it all to do. They're right in each other. Looks like, Crosby's right on Corbett's tail here, and Arnie's not too far behind. Both up 26 and 24 positions, respectively. Hamish, that's a phenomenal effort.
Here's Arnie back in P5. He's about 9 seconds off the back of Darren Crosby, who's just around here down at turn 7. Sorry. There's a bit of lap traffic in behind and Brett Taylor in behind Crosby at the moment. But Arnie, he's in a good battle at the moment. He's got Grech in behind P3 in the championship. And then Crow, who's had a great run here tonight as well. He's up 14 into the top 7 on the road at the moment. Boyd's in there in P8. And Peters seems to have finally stopped doing his blinking ability. He's sitting in strong in P9 with Cesar making up the top 10.
Yeah, it looks like Jamie Peters has sent some Morse code out to some of his family members to get off Netflix because his internet has come on strong. Just like his race form in this race there, Hamish. He's driving really well. Haven't seen him been blinking for a long time now. So, yep, congratulations. You know, good on Race Control for letting him run. It wasn't that bad. It was consistent link, so they let it go, and it looks like his net's come good now. And so is his form, P9. Go Jamie Peters, you're driving well, mate.
Well, he asked me, he's like, oh, can I keep running this here? I'm like, you might as well. If you're running in the top 10 at the moment, and if you finish there, then why not? But Crowy as well, he's having a good run from that team as well. Grech having an exceptional one. As I mentioned, P3 in the championship. He's going to gain crucial points over Shane Randall, who's now coming into the lane as well. And this is why he is coming through the lane. He's had an incident with Steve Lanyon, I believe, or he might just be coming through for a separate incident. No, it's for a separate incident. So, in fact, it's actually a second drive-through penalty for a second incident on track. Not the night that Randall would want on track, but it's a replay feature. We now have to wait for him to come back into the lane. But I see he's coming up in behind his teammate, Will Munro. Does his regular thing, although it's a big lock-up into 3. Oh, my God, nearly took out his teammate. But Randall is set to come through the lane again. Oh, it would have been.
First rule, don't take out your teammate, and we nearly seen that unfold. I tell you what, it would have been interesting to be in that Discord at that time, mate.
Yeah, well, he will have to come through the lane once again for a drive-through penalty for a previous incident at this stage in time. Luke Allman in the chat saying great racing from everyone. Great to have you here, Luke. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button if you like what you see and the bell icon. So you are notified anytime we go racing. We race here on the V8 Vets channel twice in a week. The Friday night sandpit with John Van Ree and the boys from Split 3. And then myself and Scotty here Saturday nights for the Split 2 action. Simon saying Randall going for style points. Well, quite possibly. But Kennedy leads the way nonetheless here, lap 39 of 47. So we're edging closer and closer towards the end of this race. And it's looking like Kennedy's to win at this point, Scott.
Yeah, he's a mile out in front there. He's got 5.7 seconds over Grumley. We suspect Grumley's a little bit short on fuel. He's saving. Corbett's 2.5 seconds behind. Crosby, yeah, he's putting the pressure on Corbett. So Corbett's going to have to drive a nice race to hold P3 down against Darren, up 26 positions. But gee whiz, hasn't Stephen Kennedy been a revelation this season, Hamish? The way he's gone about his driving. He's set the tone, he's set the benchmark here for Split 2 drivers. This could be 4 wins out of the 6 races, potentially here tonight. He's only got 8 laps to go.
We know that the record of Split 2 wins in a single season is 6. That was set by Rick Sibra and Matthew Scholes. Sibra's done it twice over in both of his outings in Split 2. He then went on to win the championship in both outings as well. When he won 6 last time, it was arguably the most dominant performance by a championship winner in the Split 2 championship, where when it was last done by Matthew Scholes back last season, it was all up to the last race with Mark Point in contention. But Kennedy, he could be on the road to a dominant performance in itself, and then back up to Split 1 for next season. As we would predict, it's not very likely, unless he misses the last 4 rounds, not very likely to drop out of the top 10 at this point in time.
Yeah, and that last round, you cannot drop it. So that's a big one. You definitely don't want to have internet connections issues on that round, but should have them all sorted by then. But yeah, round 10, that's the big one. That's where it all comes down to. And that can make or break a championship right there. But at the moment, he's doing everything perfect. He's doing everything right. He's been driving absolutely superbly, Hamish. And here he is again tonight, 6.2 seconds away from P2 on lap 40. Absolute set pole position. And yeah, congratulations at the moment, Kennedy. You are on fire.
Yeah, he's been the measuring stick so far this season. There's a reason he leads this championship. Unfortunately for Matty Parker, this will end up being a drop round for him. Stephen Grech, he'll want to just gain some more spots to not let Kennedy gain too much more away from him in this championship. Michael Power, though, has spun it round at the exit of turn 1. Needs to be careful here. If this is a safety car, it could change the game, but it looks like he might be able to move. He's moving the wheels, so it looks like he's checking the steering's all right. And he's going to get going once again, so this will continue on into this race with only 2 laps until the cut-off for safety cars in this one.
He's missing a bonnet there too, Hamish. I'd like to see if he had a little bit of contact to someone's rear end or something like that may have caused that. So there's an overtaking opportunity going on here by the Quantum Becky. He's under pressure. He's got up on. I see what's happened. He's got too far over on that yellow hot dog anti-cut line, and it has spun him. You're on the wrong side of that there, Matty Power, unfortunately, and that's what happens. Yeah, bad luck.
Unfortunately, you can see there he was checking the steering. He was just making sure the steering was all right before he committed to calling for the tow, and then gets it going again. Bit of positive camber though on one side of the car, so he'll definitely need to trundle through the lane. Because that car will not be healthy to turn around this circuit, but there's our leader Stephen Kennedy coming up in behind him now.
Yeah, see, that's one of these things with these lock differentials in these V8s, and when you get on that power, is those curves, and yeah, it's very easy to do, Hamish. I know in practice I've done that several times myself, and spun it around, even hit the other side of the fence and dug it in there hard. So he's fortunate he's got that car underway. Yeah, he might have a bit of damage, but he has only got 6 or 7 laps of this race to go. So Kennedy at the moment coming up into a little bit of lap traffic up here in front. He'll have to navigate this, though, with 6.5 second lead. He should be able to do it easy. And the guys play pretty fair here in split 2 that I've noticed. With blue flags coming up behind him, the rule 0.8, you have to start at 0.8 of a second. You really do need to start thinking about when you can let that car behind you.
So Kennedy, he's where he started though. He started out of pole. He's back into the lead of this race, and M1, they're looking strong. They're the ones with the momentum at the moment, Scotty. And apart from Matty Parker, there's no one who's been a real challenger to their championship run so far. It is looking maybe set in stone. As I mentioned though, if he misses the next 4 rounds, then obviously he wouldn't be able to win the championship. But we could be on here for possibly a record-breaking season if Kennedy can continue the run. I mean, he won 3 out of 5 in the first half of the season. Well, if he went one better in the second half of the season and won 4, well, that's breaking the record set by Sibber and Scholes.
Yeah, the potential's there. We don't want to moz him too early or put the pressure on him. There is still a long way to go in this season, though, Hamish, and things can unravel very quickly. You could have a bad internet connection. You could have an incident that really drops you down the back. These V8s are known to blow engines on the upshift, not always the downshift. So there's a lot still left to go and a long way to go. I know we're at round 6, another 4 rounds to go. It will be interesting, though. He is in form if he maintains it. And interesting how they, as teammates in Crosby, play this out as well.
See, this battle's just starting to materialise. Gander, Lanyon and Randall. Of course, Randall down the order due to some penalties being applied and him having to trundle through the lane. Lanyon, though, is up 1 position before he started the race. He's had a consistent run so far. Gander is up 14 positions in this race. Peck's up 15 in behind them, but he's a bit far down the road at this stage in time. A little bit of a slow run out of turn 1 there for Steve Lanyon, and Shane Randall might very well try and get a run here up towards turn 3 if he can get him under brakes, but doesn't look close enough at this stage.
Shane would be frothing under that collar, and
he's going for it.
He's
going for it. Oh my God, and there's big contact.
Yeah.
That's
there's a little bit of red mist going on here.
That's for sure. That's for sure, red mist. That's not a move that we'd try and promote, for sure.
That's really unfortunate for Lanyon. That's let Martin get through there. So they haven't lost out too bad. 1 position, but it's something you don't need in the dying races. We know that Randall has had a couple of drive-throughs. Questionable overtakes. That one extremely questionable. He'll be reflecting on that strongly, I think, and you guys will be talking about that well into the future there, Hamish. But, back onto it. They've got themselves sorted. Lanyon's back underway. So yeah, all things all, they're still racing.
Yeah, I think off the back of that one, applied with the other incidents tonight, I think could be possibly a week off for Randall coming in future, and maybe just beneficial for him to take that week off, cool the jets a little bit, hang out with race control, and just see how things work from the other side of the desk maybe, as Lanyon forced to bring it in. This could be the end of his race with only 5 laps to go, and unfortunately for him, looks like it could be the end, but Randall will have some answering to do for that one. But back up the front, Kennedy leads to Grumley and Corbett. Crosby, though, is all over the back of the HSR machine of Corbett. And we're on for a battle here for P3 on the road.
If I know Crosby, he will be doing everything in his power to get that podium position, to get 2 M1 cars onto the podium. They're only running the 2 cars here, Hamish, so that's a phenomenal achievement. Corbett, down at HSR, we know those guys, they work really hard together as a team. They help each other out, and he's not going to make this easy. He's going to sit there and fight this tooth and nail, and they're coming in 3 and a bit laps to go, Hamish. This is going to be on.
There will be 4 laps to go in this race, lap 44 of 47. We know that Grumley's saving fuel, so he's actually now getting dragged in to the front of Glenn Corbett here. He might be able to catch him before the end of the race. We'll have to wait and see how that is going to materialise, but Crosby in behind Corbett as they come up through turn 3. And this battle will not be over until that checkered flag flies, I have a feeling. I think they're going to be fighting, as you mentioned, tooth and nail, hell for leather, all the way to the dying embers of this one.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's good to see. You know, this is the last spot on the podium. You want to be on the podium if you can. So, but at the same time, you've got to be aware. Sometimes you have to concede, settle for 4th position, get the car home. You know, there's no point wrecking at this stage. You definitely don't want to cause contact on the guy in front of you if you're Crosby. But you do want to fight. You do want to put your car in there. So I wonder how many incident points both these guys are travelling. That could affect also how hard they push in these dying laps. I know for myself that I was monitoring them and saving a few up my sleeve just in case I needed to start pushing and if there was any panel rubbing later on, mate.
Well, we can see here, we know that Crosby's going to put all sorts of pressure on Corbett as they come through the final corner to start lap 45. 3 laps to go as they just reappear out behind the stadium section here in the main straight. Up the hill, it's quite a deceiving elevation change up towards turn 1. It's a very steep rise, and then you go up an even steeper rise up towards turn 3, and then you trundle your way back down the roller coaster. That is turn 4, 5, 6, 7, then into turn 8, and around the final couple of corners at 9 and 10. So it is an interesting lap. It's a fast-paced lap, but it's wild when you can get into a battle like this.
I tell you what's helping Corbett out now is that lap car in front, the 575, I think
That's
it
not
is.
lap, that's Grumley.
Oh, that's Grumley.
That's Grumley
Is
in
that Grumley?
P2.
He is in striking distance, and these guys are in the draft. This is what's helping Corbett out. That's why Crosby couldn't get the run on him up along that straight between turn 1 and 3. So this is actually working for Corbett to maintain position, but Grumley is coming under fire. 1.4 seconds between them at the moment. Wow, has he come back quick? What has happened with his lap times, Hamish?
It's his fuel saving. I think he's proper fuel saving at the moment. He needs to try and get this thing home, and unfortunately he's coming under pressure here from Corbett and Crosby. The leader's going to start lap 46. He's going to only have 2 laps to survive now ahead of these guys, but they are fast approaching the back of him, and we know they're fast operators. I mean, we know Crosby's proven, Corbett's had some bright moments in the past, but this could be a very interesting end to this race as they start the second to last lap.
Yeah, it's taken all this time to heat up, and here we are coming into the dying stages. P2, P3, P4, they're all on the line. These guys want it. HSR wants it. M1 wants it. Grumley wants it for SLS. So, yeah, 3 different teams in the battle for a potential P2 finish. Although it does look like Grumley has crept out a little bit there, whether there was a mistake going on or something. But he got a few tenths there, and a few tenths at this stage of the race, that matters. That's what you're after. You want them wherever you can get them.
Yeah, you want to be able to gain anything you can, any scrap you can. You want to try and pick off the road, pick off any point of the track. You want to gain anything you can over your competitors. It's going to be an intense final lap to come. Grumley, I think, has got enough in the tank that he's not quite close enough to these guys at the moment. but Corbett is still under absolute fire from Darren Crosby in behind. As there was a slight blink there from Grumley ahead, but he looks to have settled now at the moment. On board with Corbett as we come through turn 7 up through turn 8. As I mentioned, it's such a fast run in through these corners, but as mentioned, he's under heavy fire from the fast approaching M1 racing car of Darren Crosby as they come through the final couple of corners to start the final lap of the race.
He has been tucked under that wing for the last 5-6 laps, maybe even longer, Hamish. So this is it, Crosby. If you can get it done, this is the lap to do it. Set it up, turn 1, look for a turn 3. Corbett will might block, but hey, well entitled to at this stage of the race. So we're looking for the run of Crosby off here. It looks like Corbett's got a really good drive. There is the aero into effect. Both cars are in the aero toe here at the moment. So that's null and void a little bit for Crosby, but he's coming up. He's going to have a look here, Hamish. He shows the wing, shows the front end of the nose. No, says, no, I'm too far back. I'm not going to risk it. I'm not going to do a Randall tonight. And he sits there coming off turn 3. Turn 2, set it up to turn 3, possible overtake, Hamish. I think they're sort of set in stone where they are, but boy, geez, they've caught up to Grumley. He has lost 4 or 5 tenths in that section.
Yeah, that was a cheap shot, Scotty, but
I had to put it in there.
I know. But yeah, no, Grumley's losing a fair bit of pace, although he's gained a little bit here through into turn 6 and 7. Kennedy, though, he's far up the road. He's got this in hand. Just has to keep it clean through the final couple of corners. Couple of QPR cars around him in Norris and what I believe is Troy Sipple just there pulling over for him, letting him pass. But he's going to come down. He's going to come round the final 2 corners of this race. And he is going to take his 4th win out of 6 races this season and hopefully hold it together through the final corner. It's been a brilliant performance from Kennedy. Luckily, Parker dropped out early, but he comes across the line, takes victory for M1 Racing and wins the ANZAC Day race here for the V8 Veterans. Grumley's going to come home P2 and Corbett is going to survive in the heavy intensifying battle with Crosby to come home on the podium. I would have to say, though, Crosby, I mean, what else could you say? I know Arnie's up 24, I know Duggan's up 31, but Crosby into P4 of this race, that surely is going to be driver of the day locked up for him.
Yeah, I think he's done an awesome job there, Hamish. Arnie drove absolutely beautifully, along with a couple others. We've got Crow come across in P6, Grech P7, Boyd P8, makes it to the top 10. He'd be happy with that. Halal Caesar up 17 positions. That was a phenomenal drive by him. And a different Halal Caesar this season to what I've seen over the past couple of seasons, P9. Jamie Peters rounds out your top 10.
Looks like Stephen Grech ran out of fuel on the line, and that's what's allowed Crow to get past him. And it's a wild avoidance from a lot of the drivers as they come on through. So unfortunately for Grech, it looks like he's run out of fuel on the line. Luckily for him, though, he still managed to bring it home in P7. Boyd, I think, may have just handed it to him, though. He didn't want to let him go. But Kennedy is our winner here tonight. He wins the ANZAC Day round. And what a performance it was from him out of M1 Racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we'll get a couple guys jump up in the broadcast, do an interview. But yeah, I'm with you on that one, Hamish. I think driver of the day does go to the M1. So the M1 stable gets a double thing with Kennedy P1, Crosby potentially driver of the day in P4. Well done to Grumley P3. Drove really well, had those fuel problems. Corbett, wow, didn't he handle the pressure, Hamish? Like, I thought he drove extremely well to be able to handle what Crosby was throwing at him, especially those last 5 or so laps. Yeah, that was a beautiful drive. Held his position, held P3 throughout the race.
So just quickly here, he'd already pulled out. Oh no, that's an issue. Unfortunately, Crosby had already towed back. I was going to show his car, but our driver of the day, brought to you by Chubby Buns Burgers, announced for you right now is, of course, Darren Crosby, up 26 positions in this race, and he came home in P4 as well. So a great showing by Darren.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Dave Arney as well, P24 could have gone to him as well. Todd Duggan, 29 positions up to P15. He's had a phenomenal race. Will Munro was up 10 positions to P18. Russell Gander, someone that we did touch on there over at Pra, 14 positions into P21. And also Pecky, who had a few problems there, Hamish, I'd have to say, throughout the race, but still gained 17 positions. So he fought back after that, mate.
He did indeed. We have got our race winner in the green room in Stephen Kennedy, so we will drag him in for a chat. Mr. Kennedy, well, what a race that was for you. Unfortunately, didn't get to lead the most laps in the end, but you come home with a 4th win out of the first 6. Momentum's in your favour at the moment, and this could be a strong end to the championship if you can hold it together.
Sorry, I missed half of that. Sorry, Hamish.
That's all right, mate.
I still had the stream going. It was sort of feeding back on me. So
That's
what was
all
that again?
good. I just said then an impressive win for you tonight, mate. Obviously, 4th win out of the first 6 races for you. So this is looking like possibly a strong championship run if you can hold it together over the final 4 rounds, and possibly another trophy coming to M1 Racing in the span of, well, only a season really, with Darren obviously winning the SRW championship, and well, you could be on here for Vet Split 2 if you can keep it together.
Oh, look, I hope so. But as Scott was saying in the stream there, like, you can easily have a bad season, just like you have a bad season to start and finish off a good season. So it can turn around pretty quick. So, but I'm putting a fair bit of practice in lately, so hopefully that sort of swings it back in my way a bit. So hopefully.
Yeah, congratulations on your P1 again there, Stephen. You've 4 out of the 6 races got up there. Must be super stoked. Small team there over at M1, both you and Darren representing here in Split 2. So yeah, a phenomenal effort by you 2 drivers. What has come about this change of form? And what I know you mentioned you've been putting in a lot of practice, but what other things have you been doing to be able to get that consistency, that results, and that confidence that you're showing on track at the moment, mate?
Oh, I think, as you know, I've done me 150 races. I think I've made every mistake in that 150 races to learn from. I'm finally sort of starting to get sort of making the right calls here and there. Sometimes like pitting at the right time and knowing when to stay out. And as I said, way I practice at the moment, I'm sort of doing more full tank runs instead of just trying to do hot laps. So, and Daz and myself work together a fair bit, so we're always sort of in a test session here and there and talking about how we can be quicker around certain corners or how we can sort of get a bit more out of a lap here and there, so we work well together.
Yeah, well, it's definitely been showing, and you 2 guys there over at M1 are absolutely on fire, especially yourself, Stephen, and yeah, congratulations again on that P1, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Scott.
Well, Stephen, hopefully you can continue this run forward, of course. Big round next week out at Sonoma, running a slightly different layout to last season, but we did at least run it in SRW last season, so you have had a bit of a race run not too long ago. Hopefully
we only ran it last week.
Oh, well, I mean, last week was the layout we ran last season. It was the one that cuts out the infield, but you know, a little bit of practice prior to next round, obviously. Sunday night, it's also happening for SRW, but hopefully you can see this run forward, and who knows, maybe you'll be able to challenge that I'm trying to think what the word is, that record that's currently held by Matt Skulls and Rick Sibber of 6 wins in a single season. Either equal that record or possibly break it by getting that oh so elusive 7th. Not too much pressure, of course, towards you on that one. But let us know who's giving you the support out there, Steve. Great to chat to you once again, and big congratulations on your P1.
Okay, yes. Thanks again, Hamish. Yep, M1 used cars up Brisbane Slacks Creek. Obviously, Darren and Chris, teammates, they help a lot. Sponsors of the series, Racecraft Simulations, Parramatta Zoo, Player One Sim Gear. Trying to think of them all. Nova Sim Sports, Zoology, Tech G, Chubby Buns, and Infinity Broadcast, and Bin the Blade for Balin Foundation, and obviously Greg, Anthony, and Lucas in race control and safety car. And obviously Hamish and Scott for giving up your time for Saturday nights to do this broadcast. And obviously being vets, ANZAC round, all the veteran servicemen and women and their families, the sacrifices they made for the country and so on.
Yeah, thank you very much, Stephen. You are our Split 2 ANZAC 200 here at Red Bull Ring winner tonight. Well done, mate. Absolutely stoked for you, as I'm sure everyone else is, and a honour to watch your car go around with that livery tonight, mate. Well done. Congratulations.
Well, hopefully as
Oh.
well, Stephen.
Sorry.
No, you're right, mate. Hopefully we do get another chance to talk to you this season, although it is looking like you're on form to at least come in and keep and have a chat to us so far. But it's an absolute pleasure for us to be here and call the action when we get racing like this week in and week out. But best of luck out at Sonoma, mate. And if we don't get a chance to talk, best of luck next time throughout the rest of this season as well.
Okay. Thanks,
Thank you.
Hamish.
Excuse me there, Hamish. I need choked on my own phlegm, mate. I
That's
was
all good,
struggling.
mate. You're all right, mate. You're all good. We're going to
to.
drag in our P2 finisher and Stephen Grumley. Mr. Grumley back in form, back onto the podium after some struggle bugs have hindered you in the past a little bit, mate. But out for ANZAC Day and out on the podium, that's got to feel good to know that you still got it in you and you can still bring the fight to the big boys even when you're out of a championship fight at this point.
Yeah, no, it was good. Didn't get much practice in, so yeah, only got home Thursday from 3-week holiday. So no, it was good to get a couple of laps in and yeah, get a good result. Shame about the fuel. I was a little bit short. Maybe about a litre would have been handy.
You shouldn't have said that because now people were talking about putting fuel containers out their front door for Zippy, but now we're going to be putting them outside for you apparently if you were struggling with fuel like that. But
I saved it and kept P2, so I was happy with that.
oh, well, I mean, P2 on the road, up 2 spots. I mean, you had some good pace out there tonight. You drove a really nice, consistent race. And we've been seeing this, quite a few times from you. Obviously, last season, you had those really good races where you made up a heap of positions. Are we hopefully going to see you put a whole season together? Because I think a whole season together of you at your best is going to be absolutely fantastic to watch and fantastic to see it come about together as well.
Maybe 2 days of practice might have been helpful with this one, but anyway.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal drive there, Stephen. Looking at the pit strategy, you were aware that Matty Parker, even though he had his unfortunate internet drop out there, that he had underfueled. So going through that stint, that middle section, like I often say, that's when the race is won or lost right there, whether you save enough fuel and, how your lap pace is going. Did you know that you, at that stage, that you actually had that gap over Matty with the fuel strategy and also the strategy with the eventual winner in Kennedy?
Yeah, we were sort of both fuel saving a bit. Like I wasn't really pushing too hard in that middle stint. We were just sort of lapping, I thought. Wasn't trying to put any moves on him. I knew he had, 15 or 16 second stop time in that first stop, and I was about 22 or 23, and I knew Steve had about 26 or something, so he had a couple on me, but yeah, it was just push hard in that middle, save as much as I could in that middle stint, and then I was going to push hard in that last, but did one hot lap and then realised, might be a little bit short here, so I just saved it, pulled it back and saved a little bit each lap.
Yeah, it was a good strategy sitting in behind there and doing what you did. I thought it was really good. And the way you're driving at the moment, it looks like you've got a bit of confidence behind you. I know you said you'd only done a couple of laps here. So are you going to put in much effort for Sonoma coming up, mate?
Yeah, I'll try to get a few in. Hopefully I can get Lanyon in and do a few laps with him. So it'd be good to get a few laps with the teammate or even Grundle if he can get back on board. So see how we go.
That would be good. So maybe some warning shots to the other drivers out there. Look out, Grumley's going to be on track. They're going to do some practice. SLSA, is that what we're saying?
How'd the footy go, Scotty?
Yeah, I know. I don't want to talk about it. Eh? I was hoping no one would mention it, and here we are.
I wasn't willing to.
2 weeks in a row.
I wasn't willing to because my team got absolutely pumped by the Giants this week, so I wasn't willing to make comment. But I just want to pass this on to Steve as well. Steve, but just on behalf of Shane, I just want to apologise for his incident with him at turn 3, as well from a team owner. So I'm sorry that Shane went for that and that happened. So
I don't think he cared. He'd had a skinful on watching the footy all day, and he was lucky to get a race done, I think.
Oh, mate, let us know who helps get you and SLS Racing out on track, and everyone else you want to give a shout out to as well.
Just all the sponsors and the SLS boys. We'll get a few more laps in future, it'd be good, and we can get the SLS team right up there. It'd be good.
Well, hopefully we can see a full season come together for you boys because we know that you've got the pace. Hopefully we can see the consistency come back up, try and avoid some incidents of other drivers or your own, and I think it'll be
a long time coming for either yourself or Lanyon to get a championship win, even Brian as well. So best of luck to you guys throughout the rest of this season, and best of luck for Sonoma next week as well.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Hamish.
Thanks, mate.
No worries, mate. Yeah, well, there you go, Hamish. Really good to get those guys in, have a talk. So there's some interesting things to take away from that. Kennedy, we know he's in form. Rumley, he's starting to get a bit of hunger by the sounds of it to have a shot of it, a little bit of belief that he can. We know he's got the pace to challenge that top podium, Hamish. So I'll be looking forward to see how Sonoma and the rest of the season plays out, mate.
Yeah, hopefully, it's going to be quite an interesting end to this season. Of course, Kennedy leads the way in the championship at the moment. I am just going to quickly bring up the championship standings on my end whilst we talk about this, just so I can quickly run through how we stand with only 4 rounds to go, sorry, I should say, at this point in time. So, obviously, at the moment, it is Kennedy on top with 1,069 points. Remembering as well, this is before 2 drop rounds come into effect. Grech is currently on 1,030 points in P2. Matty Parker dropping out of the session. That unfortunately drops him down to P3 in the championship. Crosby, though, with a good move up in this race. He moves into P4 in the championship at this point. Only 23 points behind Matty Parker in P3. But the big mover and the big loser out of this one was Shane Randall. Unfortunately for him, losing a heap of penalty points and finishing far down the order, that's dropped him well outside the top 10 down into P17 out of P4 previously before this race.
Yeah, were you saying you were going to bring those points up on screen? I'm not saying.
Oh no! I've just got them on my end, just because I was going to chat about them. That's all.
Yeah, and you're right. There was a little bit of a cheap shot I had there at Shane, and no offense, I hope he takes no offense. It was just the spur of the moment, but try to keep it interesting. And I hope the week off, Shane comes back stronger. He's got a lot of pace there, Hamish. He's a good driver. He just didn't execute some of these moves as well as what he would have liked, and I'm sure he'll be reflecting on that. But by all means, keep the chin up, mate. We've all been in that position, and come back better and stronger, and I look forward to seeing you on track again.
Well, I think to go this long and have this race be easily his worst by that effect in terms of making mistakes like that and making those choices, I think that still looks pretty good in terms of his racecraft and stuff like that. He's not quite at his 50th race start yet, but he's been around for quite a few seasons now. So to go that long and his first bad night come about on Thursday, I think that's not so bad in the end anyway. But that will bring an end to our broadcast here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, of the V8 Veterans, brought to you by Racecraft Simulations Season 19. Here for Split 2 out at Round 6 at the Red Bull Ring. We thank you so much for your time. We thank you for joining us here tonight. Thank you for getting into the chat, letting us know what you thought about all the proceedings throughout tonight's race. We hope to see you next week for round number 7 at Sonoma. It's going to be an absolute cracker. But until then, I've been Hamish Rono. Alongside me, Scott Gamble. We'll see you next time. We will remember them, lest we forget. Bye for now.
I ain't playing weak, no, I'm playing for keeps. Can't stop me, I'm a legend. I run with the crew that's making the moves. Get out of the way, we coming through. We got this, never stopping, and we won't lose. No, we can't lose. Yeah! Are you ready? Yeah! We are the legends. We are the legends. Yeah! Are you ready? We are the legends. We are the legends.
Introducing the Racecraft PT1, custom-built full chassis racing simulator. The design project, codenamed The Cage, an 80/40 extrusion chassis sitting on top of a Sigma Integrale DK2 Plus 4-point full motion actuator system. No compromises in the cockpit of the PT1 simulator. To maximize the experience, we start with the 49-inch ultra-wide monitor for the greatest field of view in a small footprint of the simulator, down to the SimuCube wheelbase that's tucked up and behind the monitors with SimCore extensions to get things out of the driving area. Everything is connected to a Cube Controls GTX steering wheel with the built-in dash and all the extra button functions available at your fingertips. Driving through the Raceworks S1 pedals, the potentiometer throttle and the 2 hydraulic pedals for brake and clutch ensures you maximize the feel underfoot, and seating yourself into an OMP HTER bucket racing seat with OMP belts connected to a G-belt tensioner to provide that extra feeling and the heightened experience while you're driving. Additional interfaces and accessories in the PT1, we have twin butt kickers, one on either side of the OMP seat, as well as a Jinx sequential shifter, the SimPush Race Logic timer to the left-hand side, a Racecraft built-in WinSim kit with Philips Hue lighting and a built-in soundbar, plus the OMP side net to finish off the experience in the PT1. The Racecraft PT1, build number 1, the ultimate in sim racing experience, combining the best products in the market with the passionate, no compromise approach that goes beyond racing simulation.